Okay, so if you deal like 300 plus damage a hit, this is insane.
Yeah, because this is a high defense unit, right? So this is ignoring defense, quote unquote, as we're trying to discover.
I'm recording
here.
this too, so I can show people later.
I'm just gonna try guess based on Ababe's expression,
Yeah.
facial expression.
Hit the candles or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, why you
he's
violent
talking.
proc?
All right, let's see. Oh no.
Well, you have to see the first damage.
Oh my god!
Okay, fuck this man.
Oh! What?
It's ignore defense.
Wait, how much did it hit? How much did it hit? Aloha, everybody. Welcome back to another podcast. As you can see, we got a group of people that you guys are very familiar with. We got Fwa, aka Malding. No, I'm just kidding. You got a nice haircut. I like your haircut. I like that. I like that. Yeah, very simple. I need to get a haircut myself, man. My hair is way too long. We got What's a Love, we got Ababa, we got Thompson. Before we get started today, is there anything interesting you guys want to bring up? Anything random? Anything interesting you guys want to start off the podcast with? AKA typically Thompson has something to say, but no?
Nope.
No? Let me ask you this before we start. How much were you hoping that the last HOH, the light HOH, was going to be Molly? How much were you hoping that it was going to be?
No, that's cool. I mean,
Why
like,
you gotta hurt him like that?
No,
dude?
I
You
just actually-
started the podcast.
I'm just actually wondering because I'm gonna be honest. I actually wanted it to be Molly as well because that thing has been so toxic. But I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit more as the podcast goes. But okay, let's get into topic number one here. Topic number one that we have here is discussing season 1 Siege. It is ending. What's your thoughts on it? How do you like it? What do you want? What do you expect from this tournament? Are you participating in it? Anything about the auras that you want to see in the future? Anything to do with this season 1 Siege, and how do you think it's affected with the artifacts and whatnot? There's a lot of implications with this. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, we can't hear you, Fwa. This whole time we can't hear you. Oh, that's
yeah,
why.
I can't hear Fwa either.
I was just wondering. I thought he was just mad at me for saying he was molding, but it just turns out his mic's not working. Yeah, check your settings, and I'll let you know as soon as we'll let you know as soon as you say anything.
Try rejoining the call, like restart your Discord.
Oh yeah, maybe restart the Discord or restart the settings. Yeah. Oh wait, take your time. We're chilling.
Siege. Pepe laugh.
Right now.
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be like even weirder than like SWC with artifacts because it's so like out of the blue with all the artifacts, and there's actually some competitive siege going on.
A couple of
And
my
now, like,
siege teams have
everything
gotten really
changes.
strong
Yeah.
with artifacts. Like my Moon Vigor Skogul was like pretty decent before, and now it's just like wow. Now my whole team has like bonus 30% speed effect buff.
Yeah,
But
and like
the
all
thing
the
is, like-
all the trap teams now.
the artifacts you use for RTA is completely different from the artifacts you use in Siege.
Yeah, it's
Well,
everything's
not
different. Like,
completely, but
even,
you know, like you want
PvE.
the attack increasing effect, right? But I've been selling those like crazy.
Even like when you like it like PvE, and then you're like Siege, and then Arena, and like everything is just so vastly different. Like in Arena, all you want is attack increasing effect, increased damage to everything, right? And then like Siege defense, it's like all you want is like minus damage from whatever people normally hit you with. You run Shina Martina, just minus wind damage. Like I fought someone's Artemil team. It was an Artemil Jean Darien, which is usually like a super easy Fat Lucian. Like, because my Fat Lucian's like 15, 16k. And the guy's Artemil's has like minus like double set like triple rolls and minus wind because he only took like 11k cards or something. I was like, well, that's crazy. It's crazy how much like the damage drops with the reduced damage.
Yeah, it's.
Are you good enough, Wa?
I mean, I hate to say it, try to plug and replug. And also, do you have like a mic a mute thing on like your wire? Some microphones have that, you know.
Or we could just try reading your lips, Fwa.
Okay, wait. In your user settings, is your output volume set to 0? Because like when you're talking, I can see the little green border around your thing, so like it's picking up your microphone. I just don't know if your output volume is at 0.
Yeah, bottom left of your Discord, there's a little gear. Click on user settings, and then after that, one of the things will be was it voice or
voice and video? Yeah,
voice and video. It's like
if that doesn't work, you can go to your sound settings and make sure that your your Windows sound settings and make sure your microphone's not set to 0 volume.
Yeah, I think Windows had some kind of update recently, and DGKJK also had some issues with it on Friday. So you're not the only one with this. And I had some issues when I was setting up my stream as well, a couple of days ago. So yeah, it's not just you. It's been happening to a bunch of people. But yeah, back to the discussion here on the artifacts. It's interesting to see how vastly offense has gotten stronger, but how vastly the defense has gotten stronger as well by using those specific artifacts to counteract the damage that people will be bringing against the defense that you have, right? The counters that they'll be bringing against you. So, I heard
Tests.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Can hear you now.
Still can't
You're
hear
good.
you.
You're good.
Oh,
You're good.
it
What
just
happened?
wasn't
Can't hear
plugged
you,
in all
Fwa.
the way.
Oh, it wasn't. out of all the things, all the technical issues that could have happened, it was because it wasn't plugged in all the way.
Too short.
Is it in yet?
That's what she said.
All right.
Anyways, yeah. Welcome, Fwa. Officially welcome. Any thoughts? I thought you wanted to talk about some Siege stuff last week. What was it pertaining to? Maybe it's not
Yeah,
artifacts or.
All that it was just like I feel like Siege runes should be kind of separated from everything else, kind of like how RTA is. So like when Siege happens or when Siege starts, all the runes are locked, right? You can't move the runes around at all. And then when Siege is done over with, or during the break, like the 12-hour break, or how long's that break before Siege starts
Yeah,
the
12
next
hours.
day?
12
12
hours.
hours.
Armistice.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. Yep, and then you could move the runes around again, whatever, and then the next day the runes are locked in a way. So I think that would kind of make sense because like right now, like the really crazy try hard super pay to win strategy would be kind of like moving your runes around like a lot, right? Like during
Right.
the siege, especially if you have like a super insane efficiency set. I mean, I know that a lot of players are not this try hard, but I mean, like, this is an option if you are super try hard to move your highest efficiency runes around. Like, for example, your defenses that's in the back, you might not need the runes on those units as high priority because they're not even getting attacked. So you move those super high efficiency runes to the units that's in the frontline defenses. So I would think, and also like arena, I mean, siege offenses, if just moving your runes around for your offenses to get really high just success attacks. Because this would be the strategy for like the siege tournament or like the end of the season stuff if you wanna maximize your efficiency, right?
Right.
I would
I
think.
think a lot of people do that already at really high
Yeah,
end.
Yep.
yeah. So
I would say a lot of players will say that they do actually move the runes around. So I mean, what you're saying is interesting. We have actually discussed this a little while ago when we started discussing about siege changes, and it was one of the suggestions that we brought up. So I think it's nice that we talk about it and elaborate more on it. Locking the runes, maybe making it so that it's similar to RTA, where I mean, you know, you're able to kind of rune up and not pay for anything. That would be nice. All right, that's just a dream, right? Where you don't pay, but it's locked for that it's locked for that week, or it's locked for that siege, right? Whatever you do, you lock it in, and it's locked for offense only, or defense only, or both, right? Is ideal, and that would really show what guild is actually the strongest guild. Right, because I mean, I think it's a little bit cheesy to be able to move your runes around and just go, "Hey, I'm gonna Lucian," because you swap your Swift runes, right, and then you just boost and you just Lucian everything. And I think it would be, I think it would be a great idea. I really like that idea, and I'm curious to see if they're gonna maybe test it out and try to implement it in this siege tournament that's starting up next week. Next week?
The thing is,
this week? What is
it's next week, I think. But
Next
the thing is, I think that's fine. But then they also have to like implement something similar for defense.
Thompson, you know, right?
Because defense has the same
When the
issue with like
siege
everyone spamming
tournament's gonna start?
the same defense.
Right. We talked about the defense
Oh,
and
okay.
locking it so that when you put a defense, once it's destroyed, you can't put it up for like an hour and a half or like 2 hours or something. So you wouldn't be able to like replace it like right away after, you know. So you can't really have that same defense going up again. Is what we said before too. Do you think that this would be tough for the lower ranks though, that don't have as many runes and don't have as many units? So this should maybe be like a rank lock, like for like ranks Guardian and a Guardian above, or G3 and above. It would be implemented, because I think even G1, your siege rank in correlation to your actual rank is pretty far, right? Like G1 Siege players are like fighters, right? Fighters, conquerors, right? Or am I mistaken on that? Something along those lines, right?
Wait, but wouldn't they still have to spend money to move the runes around unless it's like unless they're on rune removal?
Yeah, they will have to spend money, and
So
that's what a lot of people do right now.
so lower ranks probably don't have the mana to actually have the option of swapping runes around during siege, right? I would think, because they don't have the
Um,
mana.
True, but I was saying that the lower ranks would have issues with what you call the runes, not having enough runes, right? Because right now we're saying we want to lock it, and if we lock it for all the ranks, that means that the lower rank players have to have all their units runed, and after a while, they're out of their rune depth isn't as vast as like a G3 siege player. Is kind of what I'm trying to say.
Okay, let me reiterate and get this straight because I want to make sure that what you're saying is what I'm understanding at the same time. So
Sure.
you're suggesting that we lock siege runes onto things onto units, right? But you're also suggesting that we separate siege runes from everything else in the game. So like similar to how we have RTA runes and then everything else, you also want a separate one for just siege.
I don't know if a separate one for siege would be good. It would. It would be something like it would still be siege and everything else you have in the game like PvE, but when you do it in siege, it's its own management, and when you do it in siege, it locks for the siege, which actually means it's separate though, because that means you would have to be able to change it on PvE, right? So it would have to be separate then.
Why does it have to be free?
But yeah, it doesn't have to be free. It's just its own management, right? Is what I was thinking. We're just throwing suggestions out there. None of this stuff is concrete. We just threw out like probably 3 different things that you're saying all together. And,
Yeah. I'm just trying to understand like what the frame of it is. Like what is the reasoning behind each piece of the puzzle, right?
The main thing
if you're throwing together a picture for me and you're saying this is kind of what I want, right? This is the pitch. I want to know why each part is existing because I don't see why you want all of these things.
Well, the main one that
it has.
Fall was talking about. Go ahead, Fall. The one that you're talking about is the main one.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be free. The rune just has to be kind of like there has to be a way for the rune to be locked during siege. I feel like so the only way to really do that is like because if it's not separated, then if you're using your PvE units also in siege, and it'll be tough for you to kind of unlock the runes or unlock the unit if they're ruined a certain way and you want to change it while you are farming dungeons while siege is happening. You know what I mean? Like it'll just be much
Yeah,
easier
I kind of
if
understand
it's
what you mean.
separate. Yeah.
So the reason I guess I want to know the reason why we want to lock runes. Are we locking runes so people can't swap runes for offense or so people can't swap runes for defense?
Both. Just so that the extra strategy of moving runes around during siege it's not there.
So once you
But why not?
once you throw it in the tower, the runes don't change until you've beaten it and reapplied it to the tower,
No.
right?
As soon as siege starts, your runes are locked.
No, I mean currently. I'm talking about currently.
Oh, currently.
Currently, if I have let's say I have like a Kamun Bastet Odin in my tower, right? And Obabo hits it and then loses, right? And he says, okay, these are the runes on the units. If I change the runes and then Thompson hits it afterwards, are the runes the same as when Obabo hit it, or are they what I just set it to?
I don't actually know.
Well, because I don't think we can have this conversation unless we're certain on how it works to start with, right?
Well, I mean, okay, let's since we don't really know what the defense, let's just talk about the offense because in my personal opinion, the offense is the biggest factor. The defense, I think the easiest fix for the siege defense that I'd like to see, rune lock or not, is being able to not be able to use the same units and same defense that was just destroyed too quickly. Right, I'd like it to have a little bit more of a cooldown. Secondly, for the offense, I'd like to see it so that people can't just keep taking off the runes and putting it onto another unit of the same teams that they've made just to clear, right? Like they want to do a Dovolution, right? Dovolution, then they remove it, they put it onto their Konami Illusion, and their Konami Illusion, they do it on, like, I think that mechanic is stupid. So those two main factors is what I kind of want to improve, and is what I think what we can discuss because we have searches on it.
Saying that Chad is saying that it will change. The runes will change. So I think the easy fix to the defense side is like once a defense is in a tower, the runes can't change. Like, they're set there. But I mean, a lot of people will just be like, well, then it's set there, and then I just remove the runes, put it on different defense setup for the next one. I don't think that it's that much of an issue, to be perfectly honest. I think it's okay that like if someone really wants to spend all their resources for the betterment of their guild, I think that they have every right to.
Really?
Right, I
For
mean,
the
it-
offense or for the defense?
For the defense, I mean, defenses don't win that much anyways.
Okay, defenses. Okay, but I think
thing is-
go ahead, Bob.
I think like in a perfect world that could work, but like
Oh,
what happens
wait.
if a guild like makes a completely new defense and you don't have anything built to actually counter it?
Then you
Then you
deserve
can't
to
attack it
lose.
at all. Nah,
I mean,
I don't
if
think so,
build-
because
if
you
build
have
a
all the
brand new
runes, you have to
defense
have
that
the units.
if you build a brand new defense that nobody has the ability to beat, it should you
No,
not be
it's-
rewarded?
People have the ability to beat it. It's just that your runes are locked. You can't do anything about it. You have a bunch of units that you have built, but you don't have runes on them because of runes being locked. Because
Yeah,
everyone
I
doesn't
see.
have, like,
No,
infinite
I
runes.
totally agree with you. Sorry, I misunderstood
Yeah.
what you were saying. I don't think we should lock runes at all.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any reason to lock runes.
I mean, I see the reason because it would make it a bit harder, I guess, to like. But it would work the same way for defense then that you can't spam the same defense because they have like the same counters if it's the same defense.
You know that after you said that, it kind of makes sense as well. Yeah, it would be tough not being able to move your runes around to counter something that you want to counter, right? Like something that's new or different because you have to put a will set on it or change a set. But I still have to say that I don't like that players are rewarded by building the same units 3 times and using the same team 3 times with only 1 rune set. I think that's garbage.
Okay, but
It's
the thing
garbage.
is, I think that's also interesting because you have artifacts now. You can counter like a specific like type of offense. So you can do like fun
But
things. with that.
Lucians are so much stronger, right? I mean, artifacts also
Yeah,
improve
so-
offense too, does it not?
I
Yeah,
don't
but-
think that's a player fault thing. I think that's a game balance issue.
Hmm.
Because we're basically just saying that there are too many like overpowered meta units that you can just build a whole bunch of them and just use that only and nothing else, which is true. I mean, for example, Billy has 3 Dovas, right? Like he'll just use 3 Dova Lucian teams because it works, and that makes sense. So I don't know. Is that an issue of like players shouldn't be rewarded for like playing the game the way the game has been built? I personally think that that's an issue of the way Com2us has balanced things. I do think, however, that the artifacts have changed that, like Obaba was saying. With the example I brought up with the Artemill earlier today, right? Like the Artemill literally took 25% less damage from my Lucian. Like that is easily enough to beat me. Against any like real defense, there's no way I win. Right? I won that because that guy's defense is bad.
Hmm.
But like if I'm doing that into like a Shina Martina with a Triana, there's absolutely no way I'm killing them. Even if I'm spec'd out for 17k cards, it's just not happening.
So is it so what we're saying is that the substats from artifacts, the defensive substats outweigh the offensive ones? Is
Yeah, they
what-
do for
They do.
certain
know, good
like
to know.
offenses they do.
For RT, not for RTA, I think.
RT is a little
Depends.
different, I think.
Yeah, I think you can build units like to counter specific things, and then the like defense properties will be valued higher than the offense ones.
I feel
More
like
so-
the disparity between the offense and defense for Guild Siege and Guild Wars is less than the disparity in RTA, right? Because I feel like the disparity in RTA might be more. So the defense mechanics of artifacts potentially are stronger, right? Because in offensive Guild Wars, you have substats like increase by effect of attack and stuff, and that's not stuff that you're going to be using in RTA, right? These are not the offensive substats you'll be using in RTA, while you're still going up against those reduced damage and defensive subsets in RTA. No?
I totally did not understand what you were saying. I'm sorry. Can you repeat it?
I think I
wanna
kinda
see if
get
follow
You kind of
it.
get it.
But then, like
I can rephrase it.
in Siege and Guild War, you could know exactly what you're bringing it into, or kind of exactly like what they might bring into you. But for RTA, you can't. So
Yeah, okay.
That's
yeah.
true. That's true then. Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know
'cause
that.
then, I mean, when it comes to like RTA, it's like you can only prepare for so many things, or you have to build a unit specifically to counter like one thing, right? Which is like the siege style, right? We build units for siege to counter very specific teams. In RTA, you kind of have to both rune and artifact a little more generically, unless your unit's like a super hard counter pick.
Right. So,
Yeah, so, like,
you agree or
An
disagree with that?
example.
I agree, but there's only a limited amount of monsters that you bring in to counter other monsters.
Exactly.
Only
Exactly.
like in
That's
4
why
or
it has
5,
to be
you know?
fairly
Yeah.
generic. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but like an example would be if you're against a Molong
Okay.
and you pick like a Triana that has a lot of minus damage from water, you only take like 50% from a Reckless, and that could just like throw the whole game off balance.
That's true, actually. That's true. Because he won't be able to follow up, right? Depending on what
Yeah.
he's trying to follow up with. That's true. That's very true.
Or your Molong could deal extra damage to wind.
True.
Yeah,
true.
it could, but it's still gonna be less.
But
The
how
roll
often?
range is
So-
the roll range
I think
difference
it's-
is 4 to 6.
I think
How-
it's then you also have the thing where you think your Molong is gonna do like 80% on the Triana, but then all of a sudden it only does like 58 because that Triana has reduced damage.
I wonder which one procs in first, the increased damage or the reduced damage? It must be the increase and then the reduce. So that means the
Yeah,
reduce
probably.
is always more beneficial than the increase?
Yeah.
I think so, right? In the math, in the equation,
Yeah,
it
but-
just sounds like that.
Yeah,
Couldn't tell
thing
you
is,
how I tested it.
Yeah,
I guess
me
we don't
too,
really
me
know
too.
that, but my point is just that if you actually have like increased damage, then you think you're gonna deal more than 70% in most cases. So you're gonna get tricked even in that case.
Yeah, but let's be real. You're really gonna build any of your units, or maybe some, but any of them with reduced damage for basically specific element for RTA? I don't think so. I think you probably
I would-
benefit from the
I would
really.
do that for sure. Yeah.
Wait, but for like I mean maybe for specific certain ones, but for the most part, I feel like going for the other stats is gonna be more beneficial. No, for the most part.
I actually am going the other way. I'm building more specifically for certain things. Like
Really? For all your units? Because I feel like only some of them really do that, right? Like a unit that you're bringing in to counter something that you know you're going to counter it with, you're going to do that. But like, let's say
the units that I'm hard counter picking with, I'm
Mhm.
actually because most of my counter picks are damage dealers. I'm actually building them to be like very, very offensive. So for example, I gave my Trevor like increased like additional damage based on attack, defense, and HP
Mhm.
because all I need from Trevor is just more damage, right? I never
Right.
really need anything else. I don't need reduced damage from anything. I don't need speed under an ability or anything like that. But like when we look at like if you're talking about the supports, maybe it makes sense to be like more on the defensive side, but I don't think it's locked to that for any reason. Like if you're picking like Vanessa Triana against people because you know that they're running like a Molong snipe comp, I don't think you absolutely have to run minus damage from water. You could very well just run like proportional speed to lost HP or something if you know you're tanky enough.
Mm. Okay, I like these discussions. It brings more light to all these different strats because I'll tell you right now, from week to week, whatever we talk about now, it literally changes like next week. We've been going like 180 and 180 and 180 and 180 and so many things. So,
We'll
yeah.
probably be able to talk about different strategies for artifacts and like approaches to counter picks and approaches to standard drafting for the
Mhm.
next like 6 to 7 months.
Yeah, and it'll keep
because
changing.
there's
Yep.
on top of the depth and just like difference in levels of artifacts and like how hard it is to get really good ones, we also just don't know everything about them yet. Like we don't know about all of the artifacts. We don't know how exactly every single substat line interacts with each other. We have a good idea and a good grasp of how most things work, and we also like, you know, we'll test things and we'll disprove things and we'll prove things and we'll move on, but like we're just not there yet. It's too early into it. Like we're only like what 2-3 weeks in.
Yeah, we're about a month in. No, a couple weeks, 3 weeks. I think maybe 3 weeks in. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Right, so
and there's also like really like things that people don't really think about until like it becomes relevant or until that unit gets buffed or until this 2A unit comes out, right?
right. So before we
Like,
dive
how
too
many
much,
sorry, go ahead.
Before we dive too much more into artifacts, I'm gonna bring it back just a second here for Siege, just to kind of close it out a little bit. So, what's our general thoughts then on the Siege? All right, the way Siege is right now is okay. And any other thoughts on Siege for season 1 here? Right, maybe we don't want to have the runes implemented. It seems like Ababo and Tyler kind of are in agreement that allowing the changing of runes is okay. Yeah, I'm still. I mean, I understand your point, but I'm still on the side where I don't like it how you can. I don't think it's a mechanic that was intended for you to be able to remove the runes, your best runes for your swift and your damage runes, take it off and put it into another swift and damage unit just because you built it just for siege. I kind of don't like that too much.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like you should be able to change your runes, but it's not
Mhm.
intended that you should be able to like just change them for every single offense.
Yeah.
But you still need to be able to like change if there's a completely new defense, which
Right.
you don't have like units runed up for.
Right.
One of my like default responses to that is I feel
Mhm.
like the game was designed for you to be able to do stuff like that. Otherwise, they wouldn't allow us to have like there wouldn't be no point in having duplicates of units, right? for example, like if the game basically was like Epic 7, where it's like there's really no point having dupes because you can't use them in any content. You can only use them if like something dies, right? Then maybe it would make more sense that it's like, yeah, you can't like move your runes and stuff like that. But like because we're like for years we were encouraged to build things like double Lucian, right? Like
Right.
double Lucian has been and will continue to be the arena meta for years and years and years as we play this game. Right, so like why shouldn't I be able to move runes between one Lucian and the other for other aspects of the game like Guild Wars, right?
I guess Siege was created for the aspect of using dupes. That was the actual one of the like perks or benefits of alleviating the dupe nat 5 feeling, right? When you get dupe nat 5s. This was before the creation of ancient crystals, so I guess that kind of makes sense then. Now thinking back to the roots of it a little bit more. What are your thoughts, Fall, in general? Now that we kind of had a little bit more of a discussion, you know.
So like if there is like a rune locking system for Siege, then there is like it does become a completely different kind of like content, because like there's so much other strategies that you kind of have to think about, because like what you guys were saying about how if there's like team comps that you are fighting up against, you don't have the tools to beat it with your just not rune correctly. That might actually be something that's good, that like each guild could strategize ahead of time to all right, so we know that they can't move runes around for 12 hours, so let's rune off our units this certain way, and there's no way that they think of that they're going to counter this like this session. But once that break happens, then you could re-rune all your units to kind of try counter it. Once it restarts again, then maybe you might be able to kind of come back from the loss or whatever too. So there's a bunch of other strategy that comes into it too.
Fair.
But yeah, so you could see it as like a positive thing or like a negative thing. It just depends on the perspective, I guess.
Yep. That's why we have
Also,
these
one
discussions.
more thing to mention is I think it also depends on kind of the ranks that we're talking about. Because if we make this a general overall change to Siege becomes a lot harder for lower ranked players, like way harder for like mid to low tier players. It's not as bad for us at the top end because like we have a lot of runes and we can build a lot of units. But I know some players who will swap like 1 or 2 runes around because they know they need like to break their Swift set to like finish something else to outspeed somebody, like, and they're like Conk 2 players doing like C3 Siege. They're like, I just want to get my 10 wins on offense, you know. So I think we should keep that into consideration. Obviously that's not like the number one main focus, because I understand that the point of this discussion is most likely for Siege tournament, but it is relevant to think about it when we say we should make blank change to Siege and we're talking about like an overarching change. We do have to consider the early and mid game players because that content does apply to them too.
Right. It's if we're looking at from a top down or a bottom up. That's something that every game has a struggle in balancing, right? Top down or bottom up strategies. So makes sense. It definitely makes sense. Anything else? Anything else you want to add, Bobble or Thompson? If you want to add anything to Siege, and because I mean you're gonna be participating, right? I mean, what rank is your Siege right now? Your guild right now for Siege?
Dude, I don't even know our Siege rank.
I mean, you guys definitely top 20. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
we're like top 3, top 2.
Okay, so yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
All
right, cool. Yeah.
How about you? Quick question. How about you, Obabo? Aren't you guys like the top 2 guilds in
Yeah,
Europe?
I was gonna say.
Yeah, we are.
You guys trying to win, all right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be interesting because we actually fought like rank 1 guild this siege.
Yeah.
We kind of got wrecked,
Uh-oh.
but we won the 2 other times. But that was before artifacts, so we're gonna see what happens.
What's guild is this for rank 1 for EU?
Aftermath and then squad 0.
Oh,
Or,
okay, okay. So same time. Wait, which guild are you in?
I'm in squad.
Oh, okay, got you. Right,
They should make Siege like maybe like worldwide instead of just like server based. I don't know if that's a dumb
Yeah, that
idea
would-
or whatever.
that'd be pretty lit.
No, that would
honestly.
actually be really nice.
It would be
that would
bigger
be-
diversity for the top end players too. I think they'd have a lot more fun. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I got paired up with Asia and EU guilds. You know what I mean? Instead of just the same ones around. That'd be lit.
Yeah, and that would be like so because like there's a lot of like rivalry between the servers. Like people saying EU sucking and all that stuff.
I mean, it's
It
true.
would be
though.
so fun to like see like which like server actually gets like rank 1 across all.
But
the
it's
servers.
true though, right? EU does suck, right? I'm just kidding.
I mean, at some things, but I think at Siege we're actually
I'm
best.
just kidding, dude. No, I know for a fact that EU's pretty hardcore when it comes to guilds. Like that's the one thing I got when I started hanging out with more of those EU influencers and when I went to EU is that dude, they are very guild centric. Like they are very guild oriented for sure.
I saw Boss in person, and all he talked about was like, "Oh, I'm a Guild War player. I'm a Guild War player. I love Guild War." Yeah, I also think DGP he stopped playing RTA just to focus on Guild War.
Yeah,
the EU are hardcore.
definitely. So when it comes to artifacts and new stuff like that, I mean, their gears are all turning again. You know what I mean? So that would be cool. But what if they do like season 2, right? Season 2 announcement, season 2 Siege, international. Oh man, like I think I'd be actually pretty excited for that.
Cool.
Like,
but I was saying that earlier. I was selling so many Siege artifacts, like the increased damage based on attack effect, and then the increased defense effect. Also, increased damage based on like wind or something, or decreased based on wind. I've been selling them like left and right. So
and because of this, I really think they need to expand. Now, I'm gonna say thank you for expanding the grind and the rune space. But because of this exact reason Thompson just said, the artifact space needs to be increased because now we have builds for RTA artifacts and we have builds for Siege artifacts. And it looks like they're focusing on
for
both.
selling everything. You know, I'm like,
exactly.
Okay, hold on. Before we get more storage,
Go ahead.
first get a manager, please.
Oh yeah, okay. I take it
Or
back.
like
I take
gonna
it
be
back.
included in the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
manager that we already
mean,
have, because
let's-
it is.
Go ahead.
If you want to look at your artifacts, you have to pull a unit out of storage to do it. It's so
yeah, you know what's the
frustrating.
worst? The worst is so I ran out of space, so I started putting like legendary artifacts on like just dupe monsters and random monsters. Then I don't know how to go back to find it. I have to go into RTA to see it and then go back out. Oh my god, it's impossible to find a rune. It's gone. It's forever gone.
Dude,
Yep.
like this feeling of artifacts, any player out there that is complaining about this, oh man, you haven't experienced it, man. This is how we looked at runes back in the day, boys and girls.
Oh yeah.
How long ago actually? Maybe not even 2 years? A year and a half? 2 years? I forget when the rune manager came out. Do you know
People
when?
will have runes on their angel mons because they have no space.
Yeah, but the fact that you had to click every rune to see
Oh.
which one it was, right? There was
Oh,
no
yeah.
rune manager. When did rune manager come out? I don't even remember when it came out. Like that was a revelation, man. That was a gift from above, bro.
That
Yeah.
was a gift.
Yeah.
Hats off to Comptos.
All right, before we hop into the next topic here, Fua, thank you for joining us. I know that you only could join for a little bit today. I appreciate your time, man. We'll definitely see you on another podcast. We're going to be swapping you out here. Yeah, for
Alright,
somebody
take
with a
care,
little bit
guys.
more hair. I mean, for somebody else
Bye, Fua.
that's...
Yep. Take care, guys.
See you later, man. All right, let me get in the...
Somebody
screen.
with more hair.
I know what
In
I'm
before
saying.
Lucky has no hair, dude.
Like he gets a
In
haircut.
before Lucky's just like
I just
shaved it right off.
I just bring in Lucky and he just comes in with less hair than Fua.
Dude, that would be hilarious. And then he'd be the new Maulding.
For the
Oh,
stream, man.
yeah,
I should have shaved my head for this stream.
You should do it right now.
What hair? I'm just kidding. It's gone, boys.
Just green screen the hair out. That's the key.
I should. I really should.
So wear one of them shower caps. That's all. All right, welcome, welcome, Lucky. As you see, just talking about some Siege and whatnot, but we're gonna be just hopping over to the next topic here real soon. Did you have anything to add for Siege that you want to
Not really.
input? Not really. Okay.
Nah, I didn't really think about it, to be honest. I just
Do you
Yeah,
do you
no
feel like
chance.
artifacts are like crazy in Siege?
yeah, they make a big difference.
Because I put I put artifacts on one of my defenses and it just got way scarier.
I think this week and kind of late last week's sieges, you could feel the artifact difference in the battles. But before that, it was mainly just defenses, but now offenses are rocking them all. So it's a lot harder. Definitely
It's
a lot
funny. It's
harder.
funny how that works. Everyone like puts artifacts on their defenses first, and then they're like, "Oh, now my offenses suck," and then they're like, "I
Yeah.
need to work on my offenses now." But
Yeah.
it's always in that order. It's the same thing. It's like even in Epic 7, like I upgraded all my Guild Wars defense units, but never my Guild Wars offense units. I don't know why. I'm like,
I
they
guess-
work enough. They're
This
fine.
is because we can manipulate and just keep dumping out defenses, right? So it's the main reason why. They need to change that though. I know you guys already touched base on a lot of the siege tactics behind it all, so yeah, won't repeat it.
No worries. I mean, I guess you're kind of in line with what we discussed. I mean, we discussed a little bit on Friday as well, right? About some of the
Yeah,
things
we
we
did.
wanted to see. So, all right, let's hop into topic number 2, which is a topic about artifacts. You're probably going to be seeing this topic podcast here on this podcast pretty much from week to week because there's new discoveries, there's new innovations, and there's new things that people are finding out, interactions and whatnot with a variety of units for artifacts. So any new innovative, game-changing discoveries with artifacts and units for Siege, PvE, or especially Thompson's favorite, RTA that you guys have found that you want to bring up and kind of discuss more today, since we've been discussing.
Skill 3 crit damage illusion.
Wow, never thought about that.
Attack increasing effect on Fire Monkey King and Jaeger is really good.
Oh, because it stacks with the passive, huh?
Yeah.
The fact that
Yeah,
you said
you can-
Jaeger is disgusting, but Fire Monkey King, okay, makes
Yeah.
it more viable.
It's
Increasing effect works on
Yeah.
Fire Monkey King.
Yeah, the passive. I'm pretty sure it does. I had
No, it
Broly
doesn't.
test it. I had it. I had
That's like
T1G.
just a buff, right?
I asked T1G Broly to test it for me, and he showed me a video of it. And when I ran the numbers, it looked like it worked. It's like a 10% increase. I was like, that's actually quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, it has to be a significant increase.
Can anyone check?
It had to be a significant increase because you have to account for the variable in damage, right? Because there is a certain variable in random damage, so it has to be significant enough.
So the damage variance is, I always assume it's plus minus 10% when I test. So I test it like within that range, and if it deviates outside the range, I'll consider it to be okay.
Yeah,
Because
that's a
the
lot of
passive
damage.
effect, because the passive effect can be treated similar to like an actual buff, right? So
the passive is an attack increasing effect.
I mean, it is. It basically is gaining
Mhm.
attack by
That's what
hit.
it
It
is.
literally
technically.
just increases your attack. It straight up says
Yeah.
that.
Oh, I didn't know that. What the heck?
It's crazy.
So that's kind of
right?
insane on like Marsha and
Oh,
It
for
probably is
speed.
nuts on
Marsha is
Marsha.
insane.
Yeah.
It's probably
Speed
nuts on
increasing
Narsha too.
Narsha as
Because
well, but
Narsha,
I don't have a
Narsha
so
gets
I
a lot
can't
of speed,
test
right,
that.
Thompson?
Yeah,
Narsha gets a lot of
Yeah.
speed, so that actually would be an insane amount of speed technically.
Yeah,
But it's
that would be
multiplicative.
Speed increasing effect works
Yeah.
on Narsha.
Yeah, I think
don't
so.
know. Test
that
it.
could actually be insane because she gets like 600 speed, right?
let
If
us
you get,
know
like,
by
60
next week, Thompson.
If you get 60% speed
Yo,
increasing,
my
effect, she
Narsha's
gets, like,
decked out right now. It's about to get even more decked out. What the fuck?
Yeah,
yeah, she could get like 800 speed and then just one shot things, I guess.
All right.
If it works.
I don't think
Yeah,
it
there's some
works.
cool
though.
shit. There's some
Effect,
cool shit.
I think it
effect,
works.
and attack effect works on passive.
I think it works.
It works on Fire. I don't have a Jaeger, so I can't test it on Jaeger, but
It works
Actually,
on Fire Monkey like 100%.
I'm fairly certain it did when I tested it. I'll test it with a higher percentage one and see if it like makes more of a difference. But we tested it on 4-stack Fire Monkey King with 0% HP defense lost.
Oh,
Like we literally tested it with and without the artifact, and the artifact didn't have attack on it. So
I thought it was just
a
attack
defense
on.
artifact.
no.
And
I don't
it
think
says,
so.
It says
I don't
attack
think so.
increasing effects. So anything that affects attack increasing, I assume.
So
right?
now my next question with that is, if it does apply like that, what about like a passive Chow passive with the Justice? Like, do you do more damage because allies are dead? I don't think so. That would be way
I
too
don't think so
crazy.
because that's not attack increasing, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
just
thought
let
attack
me
increasing.
read the wording on it really quick.
Yeah,
I
it
think
has
it's
to be
more
attack
effective.
Cool.
increasing.
Speaking of Leica, 2 weeks ago when I was on the podcast and I was complaining about not having a Leica, I literally pulled one that night.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
grats,
Ooh,
grats, dude.
grats.
Hey, do you guys know now? Go ahead and say whatever you want. Apparently, the podcast grants you whatever you like.
I want an LD Nat 5.
Okay, relax.
You've
I
tried
want
that so
Narsha.
many times, though, Tyler.
It's never gonna happen.
Yo,
It's not
that
gonna
is so
work.
false, man. I've been talking about Molly for like the past 3 years on podcasts.
Yeah, everybody else has been getting one.
I pulled it pretty much like pretty close after you said it the first time, and then I pulled a second one after that too.
I'm
I
talking about,
stole your volley, and you stole my.
I didn't steal anything, man.
No. I
Okay,
took your volley.
you have the
bro.
IRO one, dude. The best one is the IRO one, bro. Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Molly's pretty OP.
Right,
Yeah.
let's talk about a weird interaction. This like weird, like these are the fun things that I find with artifacts, and I kind of want to discuss it a little bit more. So, Obama made a joke about crit damage on skills. I think crit damage on skills are actually really good, and obviously we've seen they're really good with Lucian and whatnot. But we found some interesting interactions with it. With one specific example with Miho, the increased crit damage makes it so her passive, which is her S3 technically, do more damage. But what's weird about it is that when you have S3 crit damage, it makes her revenge, which is her S1, do more damage. But it doesn't make her S1 do more damage. So I think we did a testing and it kind of seems like if you have crit damage S1, it actually makes her revenges do more damage and the S1 more damage. So it's weird how that interaction's there. You see that? It's weird.
Yeah.
So that's like an example of like you have to really understand the units and the skills to put in the artifacts that will work with it. So S1 crit damage brings more value than S3 crit damage for.
But
That'd
one
be
thing,
really crazy if you could get S1 and S3 and it just stacks.
Oh yeah, I think it will. But the S3 brings you less value though. You know what I mean? Because
I
only
tried
one.
testing
No.
something similar to that. I tried
Yeah?
testing it with skill 4 crit damage on Belinus, and it doesn't actually increase his damage at all, which is like weird.
Yeah. So it's like why
Yeah,
does
but
some
Because
work?
he counterattacks with skill 1 on the Belinus, and the skill 4 is technically the passive that has the revenge on it, right? In beast form.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. I have video proof on
Really?
that
How much skill damage, crit damage S4 did you have?
15%.
Oh, that's a significant
Tyler-
amount.
Noticeable. Then.
Tyler,
Yeah.
I tested
Put
it with
some,
Valley. It just didn't work. I have a
put
video
some,
recording of it too.
put
Go
some
ahead,
attack
Paul.
increasing effect on your bonus for his passive.
Monk. That's scary.
Increases your attack power by 100%.
You know, I still don't have
Oh.
Belinus. No
should
Belinus,
work.
no Leica, dude. I wish.
Oh, no bonus. Okay.
I wish.
Yeah, that should work on him then, like the attack increasing effect.
That's so crazy, dude. There's so many things now that could do this.
Yeah.
I feel like we just opened a can
Still,
of
I'm not
worms.
sure if it works. It
I'm not
works
sure either, but
100%.
it's
Test has to be done.
Just give it a try. All you have to
Yeah.
do is you take an artifact that has
I mean,
that has no offensive stats on it, right? Like a defense artifact or something with like 10% increased attack effect, and then just test it on a 10 stack Fire Monkey King at
Just
0%,
oh,
0%.
but that is
Yeah.
so insane on Tyrannus then because Tyrannus gets like from his passive
Yeah,
and
100%, right?
Ooh.
What do we think about
Yeah.
Artemil? Think about Artemil. Artemil
Oh yeah,
gets
Artemil as well.
75%
But the thing
defense,
is, Tyrannus gives himself like defense buff as well, which also gets
defense buff,
amplified.
and then up to 100% defense, right? From passive.
I don't know if it works like that.
I'm not
That's
sure
the
how.
thing.
I really hope it doesn't.
I'm not sure.
I really hope I'm wrong.
You're the one that said it does. That's a.
I know.
first
I'm
thing you
really,
said.
I really hope that I'm wrong, and it was like
Do
a bug,
you know
or
what
I'm
would
just
help
wrong.
this? You know what
No, it's
helped this?
50%
Compost
for,
actually came out with like a fact sheet that actually explained what each of them do.
That's hard.
What
yeah.
each skill did?
Sorry?
Are you talking about tutor sheet about the skills?
Yeah, essentially. Because you know how
Alright,
they've
so-
got like I don't know if you guys know in the when you click your name in the top left and you go to help, they've got an explanation of all beneficial and harmful effects, but then you go to the artifact section, there's nothing.
Did you realize how long it took them to do that though? And now you're asking them to do that for the artifacts, which have so many specific examples. Like I don't even know who's gonna write that, but whoever's gonna do that, man, you're screwed. You're so screwed
I don't
to
think
put that into
Compost
English.
knows themselves.
They probably don't even know themselves, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh man, this reminds me. Okay, did anybody watch Sean B's YouTube video?
He pinged me. He messaged me just before he made that video, and he's like, "Bro, what the?"
Yeah.
That was
Obama saying Contours doesn't even know just reminds me of Sean B's video. It's just,
Oh,
it's too,
God.
it was so fun. I made an alert out of it on my stream because it was just too funny.
It's so fun. It's interesting. It's very interesting. And the thing is that I think they just genuinely made a mistake because I'd like to say that, you know, those people that are in that video are, you know, know the game decently well. They're not new to the game. I think they just genuinely forgot, man.
I
Or just didn't
think that
pay
the
attention to
issue
that.
here that's being presented to us is that ComToUs isn't like ComToUs as the developers are not open enough to their employees to tell them the truth.
All right, so I can tell you what's gonna happen. It's gonna be that Mystic Witches are getting like a 2A, and Megan will have like ignore glancing on her second skill.
Oh,
what a
Ooh.
shitty
Planning
way to
ahead.
give her.
no element
Planning
or
ahead.
disadvantage. Ah, that's not bad.
That is what's going on.
Yeah, because people are totally just gonna use Megan all the time now.
Oh,
That's
And-
that's
and
a
then they're also
shitty
buffing-
2A to add for her.
Yeah, and then they're also buffing like Steel Fortress boss resistance to 115%.
You know what? I'm
They're just gonna make it that every time you apply a buff, it instantly cleanses one turn.
gonna say that I think a lot of people would use Megan, like early mid game players. I mean, I remember Megan being a very powerful unit, and if they 2A her and add those effects and increase her base stats, it makes her pretty viable and pretty solid. I mean, you still gonna use her endgame
base
as well.
speed is so bad.
Her what?
Her base speed is so bad. Like
Yeah,
you'll
but-
use her, but like I don't
That's
think
true.
you're not gonna like go hard for her. There are many other options right now.
Yeah, it's true, but I think it's a good option with the 2As with the increased base stats. But they did say undead theme, right? We did talk about this. They did say undead theme, so we'll see what that yields. We'll see what that ends up yielding.
I mean, imagine if like Megan actually got a 2A with a decent debuff as well on her skill 2. That would actually be kind of sick. Like a defense break on her skill 2 as well.
Okay, I don't know
Something
about
like
that. But right now, does she just strip one? They might just buff
Yeah,
it so
only
it strips
one-
all.
Only one buff.
If they just did a full strip, I mean, that might be a buff to it. Units that are already like have okay kits, they don't tend to usually give them too much more. From what we've seen. So
Branding, stripped branding on her second skill.
strip branding, defense break with attack buff and crit rate buff for your team, and defense buff, right?
50% attack bar as
Nah,
well.
that sounds like Tyrannus 2.0. Let's not go that far.
All right, back to artifacts here. Any other cool interactions that you guys have found or have tested that you want to discuss? Can we talk a little bit about? I guess we talked a little bit about it, but can we talk about the fact that Molly is being used a lot and it's definitely being empowered by her buff and artifacts? Like, this is no cap to you, Thompson. Like, obviously you've been doing RJ, you've seen it, have you not? Like, She's strong. She's strong, dude. She's so strong. It's just Molly Vigors, Molly Vigors, Molly Vigors, constantly, man. So, can we talk a bit about that, or what? What's your experience so far, Thompson? Have you fought against many, or what?
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty strong.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
It
I think
always
it's fun.
like goes to the end game, which is kind of it drags on for forever.
It feels more like the bruiser meta back in the old days.
Yeah.
And I like that.
It feels worse than the bruiser meta back in the days. It's slower than that. The bruiser meta back in the day wasn't this slow. It wasn't like matches weren't drawn out that long. At least they were like 40%, not.
It's like, does
70%.
Molong strip or doesn't strip? Does Molong stun or doesn't stun? Oh, it stripped. Okay, I win.
Yeah. True. That thing heals for so much, dude. One proc and like, holy crap, dude. It's like full health, bro. It's
Yeah, just
I think they
give
should
her
nerf
a
it to
recovery
20%.
artifact too.
Yeah, it's the recovery artifact that's really accentuating her. But I mean, they just buffed it. You think they're gonna nerf her now? Because they just buffed her?
Yeah, I think they should like hot fix it maybe. Like personally, I haven't had much issues with her. But I mean, even if they lowered it to like 20%, it would still be a really good pick.
Mm.
But like they buffed it from 10% healing to 25 in like one go. That's
So-
I
I have a question. Do you think that the issue with her is the healing, the cleanse, or the glancing chance?
The healing. The healing and
It's-
cleanse,
it's-
mainly.
The thing is, I think Molly's balanced because like the only thing she brings is the healing. I feel like the rest of her kit is kinda. She's not slot efficient. She's just a like annoying healer. I feel.
I feel like her slot efficiency comes from the fact that she denies consistency.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
maybe.
adds more variables.
I mean,
she adds a lot more
when
variables.
you apply a glancing to the team, or like especially against debuff focused teams, right? Like it's very 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 crippling because you're probably gonna miss a good amount of them, right? And then when you look at like cleave focused teams, it's like okay, as a cleave focused team, do I want to leave up in a chroma or a molly, right? It's like, do I want to leave up with the anti crit or do I want to leave up with the glance, right? Both of those are frustrating. Both of those are going to be what makes you want to throw your phone. So I don't know. It's just food for thought. I think that maybe Molly's a little bit too strong in both the glancing and the healing. I think 20% and 15% would be okay. 15% glancing, 20% healing.
You know, I feel like some of the kit that Molly has, the light pony should have had it a little bit more. You know, for those players that actually have light pony, like if it's gonna be strong, like give it to an LD Nat 5, man. But like,
I think Lightpoint is actually really good.
but like light pony and Molly right
I'm
now,
gonna
it's
say
kind of crazy to see how Molly is closer, if not more draftable and more usable than the light pony, right? For only being a 4-star, so I find it a little unfair.
The healing on Eleanor isn't strong enough for people to pick it over Molly. I think if they increased her healing by like maybe
25%.
no, if they gave her 5% more on her thing, or they gave her like an
Artifacts.
additional small
Yeah,
amount
plus
of
artifacts.
healing on the passive. No, I mean like before the artifacts, right? Because then it's amplified into the artifacts. Or if
Mhm.
they gave her like more healing, like if they gave her a little bit of healing on both sides, I think it would be fine. Because right now, if I recall correctly, she only heals in human form when she uses skill 2, right?
Something like
So
10%.
it's like an
10% or
active
something.
heal skill, right? If they made that 15% and they gave her like a 10% base in pony form, I think she'd be amazing.
What if she just kept on giving heal every turn if she's in human form?
Yeah, it's only on the skill 2, isn't it?
Is that what it
To
is?
heal?
But it's only if she uses that skill. But what I'm saying, like
No,
every
she-
turn.
No.
That'd be nicer.
Yeah, that
I
would
think
be
she,
nice.
I think she should passively heal in pony form. So you have to kind of choose between which one you want to do, right? Like with
Yeah.
Amelia, right? You heal in pony form, but you also get the defensive capabilities in pony form. But you don't get the cleanse if you're staying in pony, right? So that's why people kind of rotate between the two. You really have to make both forms worth being in on the Amelia Molly types. Otherwise, you'll just always see them in the same typing, right? You'll always see people only in human form or only in pony form, right?
Yeah, nowadays I feel like Comtuous is gonna have to be a little bit more careful on the recovery like amounts for units, because if their stats have too much recovery, their artifacts of recovery percentage for those skills amplify them too much. Right? Like let's say for example a Perna, right? Perna only heals to 10%. So it doesn't get amplified as much by artifacts, but units that are stronger like Molly and stuff that heal for a lot more, like they get amplified a lot. So they have to be very careful on how much they're giving units nowadays when they're, you know, giving them buffs or creating more units that heal. Cuz it's a lot. Right?
The thing is, I don't think it's even like the artifacts that makes Molly so good right now. Because her healing by 25% would still be super oppressive without any recovery at all.
but it's the fact that it's so much more is the problem. You know what I mean?
I just think it's too high, like in the first place for Molly.
Mm.
I would rather see them like remove the whole glancing thing, and shift some power elsewhere, and maybe nerf the healing a little bit.
I wonder if the healing, like if the heals, her passive that heals, right? It's a skill up that goes up to how much is it? Does anybody know?
There's no skill up in her healing.
Oh, there's no skill up for healing, so it's just a flat 25.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
Baba,
I
did you
thought it
say
went up.
remove the glancing?
Yeah.
If you
Remove the
remove Molly's
glancing?
glancing, nobody will use her.
No, the thing is, I would want them to like remove the glancing and then add something different.
Like what?
I know that's. I'm not sure what they
I
should add.
really don't think you could add anything that would be scary enough to like warrant using Molly in that slot anymore. Because people would just pick Vigor instead, right? They'd be like, we'll just pick a healer that has anti-crit or speed buff or
I
something.
mean, she could just be like a light Rakuni who gives like a little bit of ATB, kind of like Rakuni's first skill on her passive, on the one she heals.
Wouldn't I just pick Rakuni then?
I wouldn't say so.
Base speed difference, and then also the skill 2 is a lot stronger. The 100% attack bar plus speed buff.
Yeah, but I
you
think
go for that.
Molly's healing is a lot bigger, and you also have
You
like
get
strip on skill
2
1.
debuff cleanse. I think you
Better
could
big
also
stats.
pick Tetra a lot of the time instead of Molly in that case. I'm a really big advocate for the
you
fact
can,
that
I
like the
think.
glancing is really, really strong.
It is.
And I think a lot of people underrate it. But like if you play AoE CC, that's not just Hathor, or you play like if you have a Nephthys, for example, you play the Nephthys Belinus teams, or if you're like a Cleaver, like you're suffering really hard, especially if that person owns a Chroma as well. Like a Chroma and
It's gross.
Molly together are just like really hard, like almost impossible to cleave and almost impossible to like
That's
Nephthys cleave.
That's the part that people don't get, is that even without a chroma, the fact that Molly has the anti-crit there in the passive, and the fact that everybody has a vigor built right now and it's meta, stacking with the anti-crit buff, that's what makes it so strong, right? Now you got speed buff, now you got anti-crit buff, now you got innate anti-crit on the Molly, you got defense break, right? You have cleanse just in case something goes wrong. Like the kit is so
And
well rounded on just 2 units. It's like 2
And
units that are
it's
so
not
well rounded.
just that too, right? Because there's even more than that. It's like Molly also performs really well in tank teams. She performs extremely well with bruisers. She's really good against bruisers because she just overheals all the damage you deal, right? If you're chipping someone down with like an Artemil Ragdoll team, like you have you like the Frana's banned out and you have the Molly against it, like your Molly with a Tyrannus or your Molly with like an Abelio or a Triana is actually overhealing that guy's damage. Like you're just out healing his bruise, and all you need is like some nuke setup, or you just like reverse it really fast.
I wonder how well you would do with like full support teams, that were on like
People
some
are
units
picking
of crit
full
damage.
support teams
It
with
is,
Molly.
huh?
They pick 4 supports, 3 of them on crit damage, and there's a Molly. And it's
Like,
just
what
like,
do you do to
why
kill
are
it?
you playing this game?
Like you have Vigor, you have Molly. What if people chose like Tetra? People chose like units that, maybe just have some crit rate, man, and they just stall you out and they actually hurt, right?
I mean,
Crit damage Triana, crit damage Veligil.
Yeah,
Molly.
like those
And then
kinds
you
of
run like
units.
Vanessa, and then
You're-
one like Vigor is your last unit or something.
You're not susceptible to
No, like
single target
arbitrary
damage.
draft.
You're not susceptible to control because you have immunity. Like there's so many different like insane like sustain comps that you could pick now if you had these units. Pretty gross actually.
Dude, sustain is so good right now. Like if you have Molly Tyrannus, like you're in a good place.
All right, enough talking about Molly. Thompson doesn't want to talk. I want to talk about Molly. All right, what else units have you played with, Thompson? All right, let's hear some artifacts and fun interactions that you found so far that you like, that are interesting, that doesn't give away too much of your SWC strats. Look at that smile on his face. Look at that smirk.
No, I've just been playing around with random monsters and stuff like that.
Like what? Like what?
Juno, Ethna, stuff like that.
With what artifacts?
Juno's so good.
Juno is so good with artifacts.
Yeah.
The amount of damage increase you can get.
Additional damage based on HP, defense, and speed. And you just do a ton of extra damage with your multi hitting.
I mean, why not attack as well? Doesn't she have
You
OP
don't
attack?
you don't need to run attack anymore.
Interesting. You just get
It is-
increased damage already. That's why you don't need the attack at all. So are people
Right.
running more full tank with crit rate then instead of like full tank crit rate and attack? Is that
I
is
don't
that
know.
the gem?
I don't know what other people are running, but I took all the attack off mine. I have no crit damage on mine either.
Mhm.
Do you reckon it's working as intended though? The damage calc is it meant to be per hit? Because that's why it's making Juno shine.
That's what initially, like when we first talked about it 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was like, if it's because it's multi-hitting, this is a broken mechanic, right?
Yeah.
And I said that right at the beginning. I gave you the example of like a 300 speed Ganny. I was like, why does a Ganny get free 900 damage for no reason, right?
Yeah.
Juno gets a free like 2,000 damage for no reason.
Exactly.
Like
But there's been no
suddenly,
corrections or anything to it in the last patch, so I guess it's meant to be that way.
I mean, it seems like Comtos likes to let things simmer a little bit. You know, unless
That's
it's
true.
absolutely, like overwhelmingly, like ridiculous. Like, I guess it takes like a Lucas that's doing 500 million damage to a light elemental beast to catch their eye, but everything else is okay.
Yeah,
but,
or like
you know,
Gianna having to resist checks.
Yeah,
true, true.
Yo, the artifacts really buffed Han too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the damage
So
output, or
many
which one?
hits.
Which substats in
I mean,
particular?
like I had a problem last week. My Han was doing too much damage, so I have to make it tankier and deal less damage, right?
What?
So
Your Han was doing
were
too
you
much
popping
damage.
Triana passives or something?
yeah, it was just like freaking killing everything, and it's like whoa, it's like not even being effective anymore, you know?
What?
Thompson just doesn't want it to be so strong that they nerf it.
No. Like now you
What-
can make it a
what-
little bit tankier because back then mine's is a little bit glass cannon, but you can make. I mean, mine's a little bit.
What
tankier
are the
now.
words coming out of your mouth? Killing units and doing too much damage is your problem.
Yeah, have you seen my streams? Like the Han just like boom, 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 boom.
No,
and
I
the
haven't
units
seen you
dead,
stream.
right?
Because you
just
don't
goes into
stream enough.
deleting things. There's just like everything dies. Han appears on the map and everything just bends over.
Yeah, that thing is pretty gross. Like give me an example of why of a Han with too much when you had too much damage. Like, what detriment did you face in your match?
No, just like over
killed
dealing
the-
damage. It's not effective, you know.
He killed
'Cause,
the
like,
dark units.
yeah. What's up?
So you'd rather be tankier than is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. You could put some
Okay.
more stats into HP and defense.
I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
And sometimes you get like the dream artifact, you know, that it has like quad stats. It has additional damage based on HP, additional damage based on speed, additional damage based on attack, and is it like an HP rune and just put it on there? It's just like it's crazy. Yeah, it's really good.
So that should play what players should be looking out right now for multi-hitting units is all those additional stats, additional by whatever stat. That's like the best
Actually,
right now for multi-hitters.
The stat that made my Han better was actually accuracy on skill
Yeah.
3.
Oh, really?
That is what you need. Yeah.
Huh. How much accuracy are you usually running? That's why. So it just takes
Mine
it to the
was
next
like
level?
20% before, but now
Oh,
just
okay.
like with extra like 12, it's like a lot better.
Oh, I see.
Feel the difference.
More consistency, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and swap it to topic number 3, which is still going to be about artifacts here, though. But topic number 3. Let's actually talk a little bit about some standard units, just for the general population. There's some standard units and what substats you want to look for, right? We could talk about the Verds, the Frans, the Vigors, right? Whatever it is, and what kind of substats should players be looking for in artifacts? Because that's what people want to know, right? Hey, what do I keep? What do I sell? That's the biggest issue right now. What do I keep? What do I sell? And if we talk about these standard units and substats, I think it'll help them out to, understand artifacts and get the right artifacts. So
I think Fran's best stat is the defense one. Just like flat defense.
okay,
And
okay.
then
Yeah,
her best 2 stats is recovery on skill 3 and skill 2. Those are like really good on her.
Accuracy skill 1 is actually pretty nice too, because then you can run less accuracy on your runes. And you get attack bar pushback and attack break. It's like a luxury thing, but it works quite well. I think I gave mine like 12% accuracy skill 1 or something. Like I got lucky on a max roll, and like I don't run any accuracy on her runes. She's got like 15 maybe, and she just hits everything now. It's great.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
even if you get the best substats, but it's like attack rune or HP one, you rather roll with the flat defense one, right? But a little bit worse.
so is the flat defense one just the best because the defense for Fran is lower than the attack? I forgot which one's lower. Defense is securely lower,
Her
right?
base
Oh,
defense is like
base defense.
450.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine adding 200 extra defense on the Fran. Oh,
Yeah, it's
so
a
good.
big difference.
So
Such a big difference.
would a good rule of thumb be for any player out there that's trying to rune up a unit? Look for the HP, attack, and defense, and see which one is the lowest, and give that substat for both of the artifacts for that unit. That should be a good rule of thumb, right? Because percentage-wise, on their 4 and their 6s, they can find those other ones like attack and HP. If it's a higher, because you get more multipliers from it, right? Than the defense. So,
Absolutely, but not yet, because some people like they don't know how their rune quality are, and sometimes you rune up a monster, and imagine like Fran's on maybe a slot 4 defense rune that's like 28 speed, know,
right.
and you just put HP. But like stuff like Miho or like Leica, you can put like flat attack rune versus like defense or HP on them, right? Because like
Okay. So you value the
It's still
substat
defense.
rolling better than the actual main stat. That should come secondary as your bonus then, right?
In some cases, yeah. In some
cases.
particular monsters, yeah, it's different.
Okay. So recovery S2, recovery S3 for Fran. I guess as your luxury, accuracy S1 for substats for Fran. Okay, fair. And then defensive flat is nice from what we discussed. You can look for that. What about, let's move to Verd. What's your thoughts on Verd?
Thing is, actually
whatever.
for Fran, I think
Uh-huh.
you could put like additional damage on Fran as well.
Because
What?
multi-hit on first as well.
Yeah, multi-hit on the first skill.
If you're talking about higher end PvP, I agree. If you're talking
Yeah.
about like, what are we talking about? Are we referring to like
General,
what's the topic here? 'Cause-
I would say for general usage, right? For players that are using it in RTA, for players that are using it in Guild Wars, and people are using it for dungeons, right? Just a general idea. But if it is anything for endgame PvP, make a note of that for that particular
Yeah, then you
subset.
don't want like additional damage on Fran.
Yeah, so additional damage on Fran for endgame PvP.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's
enough.
hard to get the stats to make that worthwhile. I think maybe in PvE content you can take a lot of the speed proportional to lost HP, but it's not really that worth it. Most of the time you're just looking for left side artifacts. You're looking for either reduced damage from whatever content you're using that unit in, and then right sides you're looking for accuracy and recovery. And then if it's a damage dealer, accuracy, crit damage maybe.
On the left side, I don't think you should add reduced damage based on elemental you're playing against, right, Tyler?
No, I mean for like if you're like not doing high end PvP, like if you're looking at like
Oh,
PvE
yeah,
content, you basically just always gear it up for like whatever your content you're fighting. Like if you're doing Punisher's Crypt, you just take minus damage from light.
Yeah.
And then you can run all your units squishier and give them more damage and stuff like that.
Right. And for
Because-
damage dealers, you just use whatever damage increase for light or whatnot for that specific dungeon you're
Mhm.
doing, if you have it.
I think one of the most like kind of slept on substats for PvE content is damage when attacking together. It's really good for your twins. It's really good for your Rauks. It's really good for your Crow. Pretty much everyone uses it nowadays because like double Rauk has become very, very meta for a lot of the dungeons. As well as it's pretty like the team up mechanics in general are pretty good for most content. I think another one that's fairly underrated is probably running like right side accuracy on your damage dealers. A lot of people don't. They're just like, I just want more crit damage. But a lot of your damage dealers, like if you're running B12s especially, a lot of your damage dealers need to have some sort of accuracy because they are supports as well, right? Like if you're running a Teor or a Poseidon or a Spectra, you need accuracy for dragons, right? If you're running giants, you need accuracy to land dots. You need accuracy to land whatever attack bar push you're using, etc. Like if you're using an Orochi or you're using a Savannah, right? Like you need to have accuracy because the accuracy in B12s are so high, right? So like my Teor, I run 40% accuracy something. I have a 15% accuracy on my artifact skill 3, and then I also have an accuracy set. So like I have my 65 that I'm looking for.
I can tell you something that I'm doing, and that's running.
Can I guess first?
Reeters and Giants.
I was gonna say, are you using an accuracy lead in Giants?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Reeters.
the other
Oh
one that's
yeah,
actually really
Regis has.
good-
Oh yeah, he has accuracy lead, right, for dungeons.
Yeah.
Absolutely
40
garbage.
with it.
Is it 55 or 40?
It's really high. 55.
55,
It's
yeah.
like all the accuracy
So
you need
the
pretty
thing
much.
is, I have him on like rage HP, crit damage HP, and it's still like AoE defense break, so it's actually not that bad.
He cleanses himself too and heals, right? So hey.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Is his,
Oh,
is his
un-
AI like kind of retarded though?
it's
Or is it
pretty
okay?
It's okay, I think.
I mean, you've seen on defense, right? I mean, he'll use S3 sometimes when it's available. So yeah, it's not too bad, I don't think.
The AoE armor break, it won't
If
come out
you-
when you want
If
it.
you're at the part of the game where you're farming a Lunia B5, accuracy sets are super relevant right now. Ancient accuracy sets are extremely relevant. If you're doing Steel Fortress or you're doing Punisher's Crypt, if you run a Verd in either of those, or you run like a Lauren in either of those, it's really nice to have. Obviously, you generally don't run Lauren in Punisher's Crypt. Please ignore that. If you run like 2 accuracy sets on like your Verd or something, that's 20% of your accuracy, only 5% more to like hit all the accuracy lines for the whole dungeon. If you're doing like dragons, 2 accuracy sets on your Verd, or like 2 accuracy sets on your Lauren or something, means that you only need 40%, like 45% of your team, right?
Yeah. it
So if
reduces
you
it a
like, if
lot.
you have ancient accuracy runes, you should probably use them right now because they're pretty good. Like my Rauk is on double fight accuracy, and I'm trying to get the other Rauk to be on double will accuracy. Sorry, and I'm trying to get the other one on double will accuracy as well. So I don't need any accuracy substats.
All right, back to the topic here on let's move on to Verd then. So Verd, what kind of substats for artifacts are good? right? I guess PvP and PvE wise, I guess PvE it kind of falls in line with, you know, taking less damage from a certain element or doing more damage on certain elements, since a lot of people are running more damage verds for PvE. But what about PvP? Like Guild Wars, Guild Siege, and RTA, what kind of things are you focusing on? Additional damage because it's multi-hit, or what's kind of beneficial here for Verd for artifact substats?
I pick reduced damage as well.
Yeah,
Pick reduced damage because everyone targets Verd, so I have like 3 different lines of reduced damage.
Okay, that's fair. Reduce from water, I assume, is probably the biggest thing, right?
Water, fire, and light.
I don't think reduced damage from water, fire, light's that good on.
Whoa, so what do you think is good on
On
Verd?
Verd?
Yeah, just regular crit damage decrease and speed based on inability effects, is just tanky ones, but just not the specific tanky ones, you know.
So you're not for the survivability.
Water is decent, I guess, but people are kind of afraid to hit the bird because they're scared it's going to revenge too, right? So
I find like I'm more likely to hit a Verd with a
they're
water unit.
more
Though, right?
likely to CC the bird versus hit the bird.
Well, I mean, I'll argue that a little bit, Thompson, because they're more likely to try to defense break it and nuke it, but they'll avoid hitting the Verd in situations that they're not ready yet. But if they're ready to put defense break and nuke, I think they'll hit it because that's usually people's first targets, right?
If it's defense broken and getting ready to get nuked, it's gonna die still, no matter how much artifacts you put it on. Because
Right.
Yeah, even with plus 200 defense, like it's not enough.
It's still gonna.
the speed, the base stats, and the crit rate, it's still gonna die. You know. I think it's more scared of being CC'd than being burst.
I wish it was a resistance substat. I think
Especially
Verd would benefit from that a lot, and a lot of other units would as well. Like a resistance substat, you know, make it a little bit more resistant to getting defense
Oh, I hope
broken.
God. Jeez.
Yeah, you don't like that?
Ugh. Toxic.
No, I think the damage reduction one's good for siege. If you do use Verd on siege, reduced by water and fire. Like, you know, there's Vigor Skogel. If you run Will on Verd, it kind of doesn't die to that defense, and then you just cycle around.
I think we're talking about RTA, so that's why.
We're talking about both.
Oh,
We're
okay.
talking about siege and RTA, right?
Right, but just make sure you mention which one, so that we get
Yeah.
a clear image. Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you like,
Go ahead, Bob.
I honestly don't think it really matters what you run on left side for Verd. To be
I think
perfectly
it's-
honest, I think Verd artifacts are literally just base stats.
I don't think so, but okay.
So what do you? So you think it's just the speed under an ability and the damage received under an ability, like just reduced damage?
Yeah, there's like you could get like extra speed based on lost HP and just stuff like that, you know.
So just cycling out basically and trying to get your turn as much as possible is going to be the best benefit for Verd then.
Only because like if you really bring in Verd, sometimes like people, I guess it depends on if you're putting on the triple revenge Verd or the violent Verd, right? But also like if they don't know, they're not going to hit the Verd like that crazy. It's usually like CC'd, especially in the macro meta. Oh, sorry, Obapa.
yeah, I think like everything depends on what you're trying to achieve with the unit. Because like if I go back and look when I was first picking Verd every single game,
First
then
pick
it would
Verd,
be-
Nani.
yeah, like that's what I did all last year.
Cool.
And like my Verd was pre-banned every single round in SWC.
Oh yeah, you had a fast
So-
Verd.
That was before they
Yeah.
buffed it too, right?
Cool.
Yeah, I think so. And thing is, then I would like to have like reduced damage from water as an example.
Mhm.
Because people are gonna like try to like target the Verd with their draft since I first pick it, and that could like catch them off guard. So like it depends. And if you have it like a last pick, then you might want something else.
That's true.
Not a lot of people first pick Verd like you. You're a
Yeah,
hipster.
but it was just like an example that's like
Oh, yeah,
all
no.
everything you want to do with artifacts depends on how you're planning to actually play the unit.
That makes a lot of
think
sense.
we're talking about the general pop of
Yeah.
Verd.
No, but I like that example.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of
Because
sense.
I mean, sure, there's stats that fits on units, but depending on how you want to play it, it's still gonna like vary. I guess that's what I'm saying.
You know, now elaborating on that a little bit, it does actually matter now. Come to think of it, if you really look at what the kind of player you are for RTA and what unit you value and what unit you draft first, you might want to revolve some of your artifacts based upon that unit and what counters that unit. Since oftentimes you will be drafting that unit more often first, right? You're going to face a lot more counters. So, for example, Babo gave the Verd. Obviously, his opponent's going to be having some water units in there. So, the water decrease damage does bring some value. It's true. That's very true. That's
I
interesting
mean,
to think
it's same
about.
thing. It's same thing for Hatha, right? If you like first pick Hatha every game, you're gonna fight a lot of like Vela Jewels, Fire Monkeys, and stuff. So yeah, like it's everything how you plan to like throw them in.
This is my absolute favorite thing about artifacts, is what we're
Same.
talking about right now, is that artifacts are really based on like the way you play the game.
Yeah.
And I think
customization.
that I think that the artifact patch, and I know a lot of people are frustrated with it, but I absolutely love it. And I think that the reason that I really like it so much is because everyone is approaching it differently, and everyone's approach to it is very valid and it works for them. And I think that that's really cool, and that's something I've never seen in a mobile game before. And even
I'm
most
about to
games in
not sleep
general.
tonight because of you, Tyler.
Yeah, I'm like that's crazy. Like
Works on Fire Monkey. I was like, whoa! I never thought about that.
I just think it's so cool, like that you can try different things and like different things will work. Obviously, there's going to be certain sets that are like maybe more optimal than others, but at the same time, like sometimes running non like meta optimal things is better, right? Like running things that are different, like when people run like Swift Verd, or when people started running Triple Revenge Verd, right? Like those at the time when they first came out were considered non-optimal, right? It was like, you're not using a violent revenge Verd at 265 speed. Like, what's the point of even ruining your Verd? It's like, well, I want to try in this and see if it works against people who are running these kind of builds. So, like what we're doing right now with artifacts is what makes this game a lot of fun for me.
I'm enjoying it. Not knowing
I agree.
everything, being able to discuss different things on week to week, day to day about different strats, and a lot of them working, and things being overshadowed by other things is the fun in it. And like you're right, a lot of people are frustrated because of that, but I like it. I don't know. Call me a freak. I like it.
I think it's created another avenue of thinking, right? Like
No.
before it was when we talk about rune builds on units, there were specific ways to build them, as Tyler's already spoken about. Verd, for example, artifacts are going to be very subject to your playstyle. Everyone plays with units. Like we may be using the same units, but we might be approaching our fights a different way, right? So therefore, our artifact builds on our units could be totally different to one another, which is the greatest aspect of it, right? Because
I think the biggest aspect is because the artifact is so new, no one has access to every artifact yet. So it's not even your playstyle. I have no choice, Like my friend doesn't have recovery on skill 3. It doesn't have recovery on skill 3, Just don't have the chance.
But it's interesting to see that other things will still work that you have, right? What you're given, you still have. Like sometimes when you get things like in certain games or like runes, you get it and you can't use it, right? You get like a certain like rune, you're not gonna put it on Fran, right? You're not putting a vampire rune onto Fran. But artifacts, you get something, you're like, hey, this can work with Fran. I'm gonna put it on Fran as well. It will work for now, so I get something else. It's kind of cool.
It's like when you get a slot 2 defense rune that has like 23 speed. You're like, well, I guess I'll find a way to use it soon. Or like you get another common example is you get like a defense slot 2 that has like 20 crit damage and like 11 crit rate, and you're like, but I'm early game, so can't build my copper dozer yet. Like it's great you have it. It'll be great when you get there, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be really fun learning how to use all these different things.
Can I ask Lucky a question before we
Go
move
for it.
on?
Sure.
Lucky, so do you know if Meiho Wang works with the artifact ability attack effect?
I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried it personally,
Uh-huh.
but it just comes down to, I guess, if it does work, that means all passives will work that way, right?
Does
I'll
it
test
go? For
We
sure.
can test it again tonight, and then I will
Yeah.
message you. Okay.
Dude,
Okay.
if that works on Jaeger, I'm gonna.
It's gonna
Yeah,
be
that'll
so
work.
scary if it
It'll work
works
on
on
Jaeger,
Jaeger.
it'll work on
Like,
Jaeger.
What is going on? Does it
So
work?
you legit build like 0 attack on Jaeger in that case, and just build him like 50k HP with crit damage.
Dude, that's like the
So-
best stat. If
You might even
Yeah.
have space to have them high res too. So
Okay, so
Yeah.
think about it this way: even if it does apply, it would apply multiplicatively of the base of the stat, right?
Still a
And
lot.
the base of the stat from the passive only applies to how much attack you have. So if you have 0 attack, it's still not going to be as strong. Obviously, I know what you mean when you say like a 0 attack Jaeger.
but then
the
attack
scary
is
thing for me,
the
No, but
best
I'm-
one on
thing
Meiho
is-
Wang. It's better than additional damage based on HP or attack, right? It's that one's the
What I
best.
mean, what I mean for Jaeger is that Jaeger's passive is for his base attack, right? And it stacks up so quickly that you won't even need to like consider attack, because the attack increasing effect is gonna boost up your attack. Like,
do you think it's easier to
Yeah,
test
if it
this
works
on
on
Jaeger
Jaeger,
or on Fire Monkey King? I think it's easier to test on Jaeger, right? Because he has higher increase. It's 250 versus 200.
Yeah,
10 stacks?
I mean, both should be similar.
Well,
you,
both should
you
be
can
the
just like you
same.
can just like Thor somebody turn 1 or something and get like 3 stacks right off the bat, right?
And it should
Or
be
I
like
guess
max the
just do
stats.
anything.
Just max the stacks. Just bring something with like crazy multi hits. I mean, Fire Monkey King, just bring something with like 5 multi hits, right? Like a Water Cannon Girl or something. Just max it out.
I
Instantly.
can check it on both. I have someone who said I could use their Jaeger account tonight, so we'll test it.
Yeah,
Slide into my
Yeah, that's
DM
fine.
when you find out, Tyler.
Yeah, I'll
'cause
let you know. Do you want me to
Yeah,
message you on
that's
Discord or
huge.
line?
Anything, both.
I'm excited to find this out. Like, if this works, like,
How do
there's-
you not know it works? And that's the first thing you said. It's like, whoa.
well, it's
That's
like
just what
I
he
saw a
saw.
video. I saw a video that I asked someone to record for me, and I'm like, from what I can see in this video, it looks like it works. There's a small chance it's like within the variance or it like wasn't applying as intended. Like, here's a good example. So I asked Berserk Dimension to test accuracy on passives, skill 3 accuracy on passives. Yeah, so T1G Broly was the one in chat who tested it. For me.
Skill
He said
3
it worked.
accuracy on passive works.
Yes, but
Yeah.
there was a bug where it didn't work for certain units. So we tested it on Leo, and I have a video where Leo reduces attack bar with 0% accuracy. But we also tested it on Jolton, and we ran it like 150 times, and Jolton never, ever, ever landed anything. And
works
then
on,
in the
Gemini.
patch notes, they came out and said we fixed a bug with artifacts where certain passives weren't applying with skill 3 accuracy. So like it makes me think that like I'm not sure, even if we tested and like it works, like is that an intended mechanic or not, right?
But I also wonder, like, since that like Mio example with skill 3 crit damage, making her skill 1 on revenge hit harder.
Mhm.
How like skill 1 accuracy on a unit who has a passive work then?
Skill 1 accuracy would apply to the skill 1, not the passive, just the skill 1. But the skill 1
Yeah,
debuff,
but 3 accuracy.
Right.
Then.
But since the skill 3 is using the skill 1,
Yeah,
it will
exactly.
increase
That's
it.
what I mean.
Right,
Yeah,
but
that's why I'm.
It
It
turns
probably
out
would
that
apply.
if the passive has anything to do with any of the skills, having the crit damage or the accuracy on the skill is more beneficial than having it on the passive. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
From
That's
what
what I mean.
yeah.
So like if you have a Leo with skill 1 accuracy instead of like skill 3 accuracy, and it still works.
so skill 3 accuracy would
Is-
give you bonus chance to reduce, or it would give you bonus accuracy for skill 1 and skill 2.
Yeah.
Oh, in
right?
that situation, it's better than
But-
the passive. You
But
see,
it
that's
wouldn't.
situation based.
Yeah.
It wouldn't give you bonus accuracy for your dot on skill 1. It would only give you
Oh.
bonus accuracy for your attack bar reduction, right? If you
Yeah,
had it on skill 1, it would only apply to the dot on skill 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But that's why I'm like wondering how it's working with like Mio.
Because it's more Mio
I
damage.
guess,
So
I guess it
with
makes sense.
Miho, if I had accuracy on skill 1, that would mean that any time that I skill 1 or the passive counters, it would increase the chance to stun.
Yeah,
But if
the thing is,
I had
I get it,
accuracy on
but
the
it's
skill
also-
3, I don't think it would apply for the stun chance.
yeah, but it's weird because like Mio's skill 3 is just her using skill 1, right? That's why it's confusing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
revenge is with it.
Yeah, so Broly was saying on a 4-stack Fire Monkey King with a 5% increase attack artifact, he hit for 4k extra damage.
Okay, wait, no, I think
Jaeger is just like crazy right
no,
now.
that's gonna be a little
think
bit
about
skewed.
think about your Artemil for a
No,
second.
but that's gonna be
I
skewed. You know
already
why?
know.
That-
Okay,
that's-
already
that-
know. Done.
I don't
But-
think it's actually 4K because I think that's skewed because you have to think about the variable of not having the 5%, right? The low and the highest, and the variable of having the 5% and the low and the highest. And I think the lowest not having it and the highest having it is a 4K gap. Then okay.
There's no
right.
way. There's no way damage variance is more than 10% on either side ever.
Yeah,
Because
but I'm saying
my Lucian variance of damage at 15k is like 14.4 to like 15.2. So there's no way, and that's ignore defense. So the
right,
damage
and that's
variance is
how much
actually
a
more
gap is that? How much of a gap is that for Lucian?
800.
I've seen gaps
That's
bigger
less,
than that.
that's less than
I've just
800 per card.
I've just did some tests with like Miho and stuff without the stuff, and the variances were decent. It was around 800 or 1,000. But what I'm saying is, if that variance is 1,000 with the 5%, if you have another variance of that, you have to account for that gap as well
That
from the
5%
lowest
wouldn't
and the
affect the
highest.
variance though.
Right?
That 5% wouldn't affect the variance.
But one thing I would like
It
was
just
that
that
with-
increases your stat a specific amount, right? It doesn't change your like damage variance, and even if you increase damage by a specific amount, it also will just multiply after the variance exists. So that doesn't really apply in the same way that you're thinking.
But
I don't
the
think you
thing is,
understand
the
what I'm
attack
saying.
effect could be on left and right. It could be on the type and
Yeah.
attribute, right?
Yeah.
you can.
Dude, what the heck?
And the thing is, but one thing that I wonder is that has to have been with like attack buff on the monkey as well, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I
Do
don't
you
know.
need that's what I've been trying to say.
No,
Does it work
No,
or
but, no, like that's not what I mean. But like 4k extra from 5% and 4 stacks.
Well, 4 stacks is 80% attack. Is it not? Like it's 20% per stack, I think.
Like, okay,
Yeah,
so
but
what?
4K sounds.
So then
a lot.
No, that's
all I
okay.
know
So
is
what I'm trying to say
they-
is, okay, this is
you
what I'm
pick
trying to convey.
Hathor, You
Wait.
pick Hathor, opponent picks
Yeah,
Jaeger, and they win. You're
Okay,
dead.
so this is what I'm trying to convey. Like the variance does make a difference because the variance of what you get in your two examples, right? With and without the
Yeah, it
variance. If you're saying that the increased damage, if you're using the lowest damage variance that you have with the highest damage variance you have from the 5%, and you're using that as the gap of 4K, that's a lot. The second variable is what units are you hitting? Is it a feasible like average unit that's runed up, or am I hitting like a Gotto that's like not tanky with a lot of defense? Am I hitting a Perna? Right, that also
It
measures
doesn't matter
the
if you hit
variance.
the same unit twice. It makes no difference. Because their variance is still the same percent. Your variance is always going to be a percentage of
No,
the
but I'm
total
saying the
damage.
4K, right? The information that we have of 4K, that sounds like a lot, but it might not be a lot because the average amount of damage increase is
But, okay,
not 4K, right?
I see what you're saying,
You see what I'm
but the 4K is irrelevant. You don't even need to be hung up on the 4K. It doesn't matter what that number is. What we're talking about is the fact that the damage increase exists.
Oh yeah, no,
And
we're
that's
talking about
all
that,
that
but you
matters.
just brought that up, right? You said 5% was 4K, and that sounds like a lot. So that's why we're discussing it, right? Because you
Yeah,
just said that.
So the 4K is relevant in that sense because it shows that there is a notable difference in the damage.
Right, no,
which means
I
that
thought
it
we
has to
established
exist,
that. We
right?
already established that there is a difference with it, right? That's what we're getting at. There is a difference. But
Yeah.
now the thing that's shocking me is the amount of increase multiplicatively with this effect that is working. That's what's shocking me. Because if
Okay,
it's
so if
Okay.
you were to get 10%
Mhm.
attack increasing effect, I assume it would apply multiplicatively of the base, so it would be 2% per stack, right? So if you have a fully maxed out 10 stack Fire Monkey King with 10%
he said no
increased
attack buff.
effect,
Sorry.
No
I
attack
assume that it's gonna hit for 220% of your attack, right? Instead of just 200. Does that make sense? I think that's pretty reasonable too. Like that's not any ridiculous amount.
Wouldn't it be like 200? Like if you have an artifact with 10% attack increase,
Mm-hmm.
it would be like 220 from that one, and then if you have another one, it would be 240. So like if you have two of those on a Jaeger, it would be
Yeah.
like getting an extra stack for
Yeah.
free.
That's so
Yeah,
gross,
no, I'm
dude.
almost exactly certain that's how
Yeah.
it
This
works.
is so gross, dude. I'm like trying to prove you wrong, Tyler, because I don't want to believe
Yeah,
this
seriously.
multiplier,
No, 'cause
dude.
it's
just gross.
It's another one of those things that shouldn't exist. Like when we were talking about additional damage artifacts, it's like,
It's disgusting.
you know, you spec out a 300 speed, like, okay, realistically, we spec out like a 244 speed Juno plus a 24% speed lead because that's where the tick is. And so I said that plus like a 200% additional damage by speed. Your Juno now hits for like, I think it was an additional, it was almost like 450 per hit on the multi hit. So she hits for 1350 extra free damage that's non-mitigatable because it ignores defense. Like some of the substat line combinations are just like, why does this exist? And then when we watch it, we're like, it actually does exist.
Wait, what you just said right there. This is like true damage because whatever
Yes,
damage is already
literally is
calculated
true
with the
damage.
defense.
Some true damage. Yeah.
This additional,
Yeah.
this is goddamn true damage. Wait, stop. The more you talking about this, the more I'm realizing.
Remember at the beginning
is
when you said,
disgusting.
how do you build Juno now? I said, you literally just don't put attack or crit damage because you just do true damage. Who
Because
cares?
It's addition. Well, I'm
Wait,
just
what do you
realizing
mean by-
this right now.
It's
what do you mean by true
damage.
damage?
It's damage applied after all damage mitigations.
Yeah. So
So
like
it just-
whatever
it just-
damage
it's
you
just
hit,
damage added.
So it just ignore defense.
Basically,
it's
Effectively, yeah.
basically, but not really.
Okay.
Don't get mixed up with
But
that.
the
Don't get
thing
mixed
is-
up with
the
it.
thing is,
No,
with
That sounds
artifact
way fucked up.
damage, I don't think there's damage variance on it. I think it's fixed. So it's like whatever direct percentage is the exact amount that you're going to deal.
yeah, but that has to go through like defense, right?
I think it ignores.
So
defense.
your hit,
I don't think it's
your normal hit, Ababa. Like let's say a unit hits for 5K, right? That's your normal hit. But now with the artifact, it takes additional damage and it adds it onto that after your hit. So it doesn't like calculate in defense or anything. So from what the sounds of it, that's why it sounds like true damage, which is it's kind of nuts actually.
Oh, I don't know. If, that sounds.
The
I'm
original
not. I'm
check-
not 100% sure if it ignores defense, but it.
I'm pretty sure it
definitely
gets
does a lot.
calculated like through the defense.
I
I
really
mean, it's
hope
still
it
a really good
does.
stat, but
Mm.
I'm pretty sure it's not ignore defense. Like that.
I
Would
think
be...
there's one defense check only, and that's on the initial damage calc, which is your basic attack without artifacts, and then your
Right.
artifact damage is added on top of
So,
that.
so the way
That's
you,
how
the
it
way you
works.
test this is you have to
Yeah.
test it with Lucians because Lucians have ignore defense damage. So the
Yeah.
variant, like the range is always going to be the same. You're like guaranteed to hit within plus minus this and these ranges, and then all you have to do is you calc out an artifact build that that doesn't increase your attack, right? That doesn't increase your attack, doesn't increase your crit damage, and you calc out how much additional damage you'll deal, and then you just track it over and over until you can create the min-max range and see if it actually works. So like theoretically, I think the best way to do it would be like by percentage of speed, because if you get like the speed range is 20 to 40, so 200% per artifact. If you got like a total of additional damage by like 200% of speed and you ran 250 speed Lucians, you should be theoretically hitting 500, like just over 500k per card, right? Extra. Does that make sense?
500k.
Oh, sorry, 500 per card. You'd be hitting just over 500 per card extra after all the things, right? So if your average like low end of the damage variance range is 500 higher, that means you know that it works and you know that it's fixed and true. So like let's say my Lucian hits 15k cards, my damage variance is like 14.5 to 15.5. Let's just say it's plus minus that range, even though that's not the actual damage mitigation range or damage variance range. If I added an artifact that gave me 200% of speed as damage, and I had 250 speed Lucians after speed leads and towers, whatever, right? That means that every additional multi-hit will hit for 500 more damage. So if my damage variance range now goes from 15k to 16k, then you know it's fixed and true.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
We have some testing to do with this. Because...
this will, to test it properly, you'd want to do like a couple hundred runs. So it would probably take 4 or 5 hours to do it properly, because you just be Lucianing the same thing
this
over and
is
over,
worth the
and
time,
then slowing down the video.
This is worth the time though, because this is a huge increase. So back on the attack increasing effect then. So the damage that we're hearing is not without it's without attack buff. That's crazy, dude. Because doesn't that mean
it was against a Yunhong too. He said he hit a Yunhong.
Oh, okay.
Which means that it's like a unit that's actually built to be real.
Yeah, because that's a lot of damage.
So Thompson, are you ready to build your fire monkey game?
Okeanos, everybody, just unruin it.
No, because the thing is, Okeanos is gonna hit like 6 hits on everyone, so everyone is dead. It doesn't matter if you won't hit hard. He's like
Crit damage,
everyone.
Get like, damage multiplier onto Okeanos.
Yeah, because he hits like 4 to 6 times on everyone, right? So it's yeah.
But that's crazy though.
Matter.
Increased attack effect, dude. Like what the heck? Like
yeah, with like Jaeger. What the heck? You pick Hathor, you sleep them, and then one of your units die. Is that how it works?
I mean, no. It's just gonna be like Jaeger gets another extra stack for free if he has like 10% on both artifacts.
I get
like
it. Right now, skill 2 kind of kills the unit already when they have stacks.
Right, and guess what? You know what's the grossest thing about Jaeger? Is that all Jaeger players, they run it with that damn Fran, dude. Which also accentuates even more damage, dude. It's
so the thing
ridiculous.
So for Jaeger, you would do like a lot of... For the right one, you would focus on like skill 2 crit damage. And then get some attack increasing effect in, and then also for like the left one. Because the attack increasing effect will still like scale off your crit damage, so that's going to be really important.
Yeah, but the thing with Jaeger is you have to balance it to like what you want, right? Because I think Jaeger, since I do see some people running it on Vampire, there are some pros and cons of running the recovery for the type artifact too, in the amount of healing that you get. So it's going to have a lot of options on what you want, right? You can accentuate the damage more with attack increasing effect, but maybe you do enough damage already that you want to accentuate your recovery for sustain, or maybe you want to accentuate, you know, other stuff. So it's going to have variety here, right? Because it does stack on Vampire, right? Which is really nice. And your revenge, so it's even more enhanced through that technically. Interesting, very interesting. I really hope
that was the worst effect out of all of them, like the attack increasing effect, or the speed increasing effect, or the defense increasing.
Well, I mean,
effect.
it's for Guild Wars Guild Siege.
The worst.
You know.
Yeah.
The crit rate increasing effect kind of sucks. There's only a very small handful of units.
That was the worst one.
Well, it's good for Guild Wars and Guild Siege. Guild Wars and Guild Siege as a bonus, as a luxury.
Crit increasing effect. Is there some like unit with?
Antares and Trevor.
Yeah, Antares and Trevor, but is there like a unit who gets like extra crit rate from the passive? They will work on
from skills as well.
Like something like Mina, but not really Mina because she already has 100.
See, the problem with that though is I like the way that I'll give some credit for making it about Chris. I like the way that Chris takes the approach of substats, and he bases these substats on real life situations and what kind of stats, like realistic stats, you will gain from it, right? So let's take for example a crit rate increasing effect of 5%, right? It's multiplicative, so even if you get crit rate buff, it's only gonna be 1.5% crit rate. So for one roll of substats, you're only getting 1.5% crit rate that is conditional that you have the crit rate buff. So is it valuable? That's what he uses in his mind when he's gauging what's good and what's not. So
I have a 17% crit rate increasing effect once I put it on my bulldozer.
hey, I
so
mean,
now my bulldozer needs 5 less crit. So it's like it's worth it, you know.
So I said Guild Wars and Guild Siege, that's where it's gonna shine, right? Katarina, Copper, Bulldozers. It's a nice luxury stat. But I feel the other ones that have increasing effect for like, you know, attack and stuff like or defense, you know, might actually give you more, right? Might actually give you more stats, right? Defense increasing effect with the defense buff, I think it will give you more defense percentage than 1.5 crit rate. So you can find that 1.5 crit rate through your runes easier than, you know, X amount of defense. So you see where that value comes in and the pros and cons of it. Go ahead.
Alan, I think you need to like redo your video for Elpuria.
Fuck that unit, dude. That unit was garbage, but alright. Dude, the multipliers and the stats of the unit.
20% for both attack and defense. Just slam some like attack increasing effect and defense increasing effect.
No, the multipliers of the unit is garbage, dude. It's garbage. The damage on the unit is garbage, dude. If the damage multipliers were better, I'd say so. But it sucks that whatever percentage increase, man. I don't care if I get 5 more stacks. It's not gonna do that much more, dude. Well, I'll consider it. You could use that as a test, technically. It's like a budget Meihao Wang that doesn't do anything that Meihao Wang does. So that didn't make any sense. But okay.
He gains defense. That's the biggest part. Or she, I guess.
Or might as well just have a Meihao Wang who is a defense type that's fat on defense instead of a light serpent that has negative base defense. Okay, let's go back to the topic a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more of these standard units. Can you guys name any more standard ones that we can give suggestions for? Maybe Vigor. What's some good artifact substats for Vigor, right? Give some options for players so they can.
Speed increasing effect.
Accuracy.
I think crit rate increasing effect's not bad. I've seen people ruin less crit rate on him now. So.
Wait, crit rate increasing effect doesn't give you base crit.
It doesn't give you base crit, Thompson.
It doesn't?
No.
It increases the potency of the buff.
Oh yeah, no, never mind. I got it twisted. Yeah.
He has anti-crit.
Yeah, anti-crit. Exactly.
I think what you're trying to say is additional damage by stats is better on him, and people are taking it off crit damage and putting him on more tanky stats. To offset the crit damage on slot 4, they're offsetting it with the additional damage based on like health and stuff like that, which is actually making him hit harder. That's what you meant.
Also,
for more
flat
damage.
defense. It's really good on him too.
You could do skill 2 recovery, skill 3 accuracy as well. That's probably the better one. Skill 3, I feel the accuracy is pretty nice.
I agree. I don't know about the speed increasing effect though, Tyler. And plus, for players that are confused, speed increasing effect doesn't increase the speed for all the units that unit buffs. It's only for the unit that gets the buff. So, why do you say speed increasing effect? Just for him?
Because I use Kamoon Skogul Vigor, and like if your unit uses that buff and it's not like locked behind a specific turn order, it's actually pretty relevant to run their buff increasing effect if it's a strong buff, right? So Kamoon Skogul Vigor, I have like plus 35% or plus I have plus like 30 to 35% speed effect on every single unit, which means that theoretically my speed buff is now 39% on all 3 of those units. 9% speed with a speed lead as well is enough to like actually over contend people.
I guess if you're ruining that substat on every unit, then you can maximize the value. I see how that makes sense then.
If you want super generic ones, recovery skill 2, accuracy skill 3 are probably the best.
I think
because
accuracy
higher
skill 3 is the
defense
best.
break and better heals.
I actually think for like RTA and even Siege, accuracy skill 3 is by far like the stat you really want to make sure you have on him. Because like you're focusing on making him fast and tanky and on like Vile Will or whatever, but that accuracy on S3 is game changing, especially landing that defense break. Like you need that defense break. That's how strong it is. And I've seen high accuracy ones still miss. So I mean, getting it there is really, really good. I think that's the most important one for sure.
I think a good like 40, 50 is good range to hit for the Vigor.
Yeah, and very achievable with like, I mean, 20% accuracy skill 3. I mean, what's the max that you can get? What's the max you get? 25 or what's the max accuracy
30.
you get? 30? Okay, 20%, very achievable. Okay, that's like a purple room, right?
Somebody showed me a defense artifact.
After you hit the accuracy on both sides, I think it's very optimal to have the additional damage based on HP.
You can only hit accuracy on right sides.
Yeah, accuracy right side. Additional
on the
damage.
Right side, yes, but you can have both additional damage based on HP.
Oh yeah, okay, I see what you mean now. Yeah.
And
Sorry,
speed.
I misinterpreted what you said.
I think that's a dream for him. Recovery's nice because it gives it to everybody, but keep in mind it's a small percentage, right? So it's multiplicative on that, so it's just a little boost. So luxury stat, and as well as speed increasing effect, a luxury stat as well. If you can get it on there, I mean, it's gonna be a nice perk. But additional damage on HP to make it so your vigor's not on crit damage and tank like a speed HP is gonna be really, really good in my opinion. And then the accuracy on S3 is gonna be really, really big. In terms of the flat stat, I think Thompson already covered that. He said defense, right? So he has high HP, so you want to get that defense onto him with the flat stat if possible, right? If it rolls that way. Fourth unit, let's do like 2 or 3 more of these standard units. What are standard units that everybody's using?
I pulled a support artifact with like 20% crit damage to skill 1. And it's
Odin?
Juno?
Support
Oh,
artifact.
support. Oh, shit.
And I put on
no.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Triana?
Triana and Vanessa both are support types, right?
Oh, that's nasty. That's nasty.
And then you have like Leo Ragdoll as well.
Yeah, Ragdoll. You have that one, right? Yeah, put on that one. That was good. Well,
That is actually funny that like everyone is making fun of Thompson for not having units, like while he actually has like the most units out of everyone.
Did you quad roll the crit damage or triple roll it?
I don't know. It just ended up to be like 20%. I was like, what the heck? Yeah.
Because the roll ranges are really hard on artifacts. Like they're really, really
No,
hard.
it is. Oh, totally. It was like 5-5-5. I was like, whoa.
I keep trying to roll damage while attacking together, and I keep rolling like one, and I'm like, this is a dead artifact.
You're doing that. The second I get 1 roll on damage by increasing attacking together, I sell it. Like one tick, I sell.
Dude.
See, I'm like right now I'm really focusing hard on trying to get like a sub 50-second 99.5% Steel Fortress team.
Okay.
So hard to do.
Yeah, because at the end,
the dungeon
like,
sucks.
And the beneficial effect or it doesn't, right?
Well, I'm running 12. I'm running 12 will stats on my team now. I'm running 12 will stats with double route,
Even with,
and it's
I
just
have,
like
on like 3 of my monsters, still not 100%.
yeah. I watched. So my Brig used skill 3 and missed, and then my Gina used skill 2 and missed.
If it misses, it's nothing you can do.
And then the team ups gave Gina a second chance, and she missed again. And then Brig got teamed up as well and skill 2 to get attack bar, and then missed skill 3 again. And I just quit. Done. I closed the game for the day.
Just use the vampire.
Just pull Cadiz. That's
The dark one.
Yeah, you mean so my Cadiz can just spam skill 1 the whole time?
I mean, I'm running
Mega.
like 40.
We already went over this.
Yeah.
We
We need to make sure each podcast moving forward has about 5 minutes of Steel Fortress discussion, just so that they know that this is a problem. Like
What
this is a problem.
what team? Let's talk about what team everyone's using for Steel Fortress.
Just Gina, double block beneficial. I'm using Gina
Really?
Argan still,
Oh.
and it's like minute 30, and it'll fail once in a while. But I mean, as an end game player, you know, with resources that are not really a problem for me, I don't really care. I don't really give 2 fucks, man. If it
Do
fails
I
once in a
build
while,
a 100 accuracy
whatever.
Megan? Is that the strat? If I just build 100 ac Megan, will I win?
it is a more
The team
viable
I'm-
option than Gina Kappa.
The team I'm
I
running
mean,
at the
you're-
moment is Brig, Cadiz, double route, Crow.
Oh, you have Cadiz. Nice.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
He's obviously not part of this discussion. He's out.
What are you guys running? Are you still running Savannah?
Me, I'm running a different team. I'm going Pang, Rogue, Crow, Brig, and the Dark Copper.
Zinc. He's probably the
Why
most
the
consistent.
Pang? I guess for the strip, right?
The strip. Yeah. The strip, the slow, and the damage. And so yeah. But definitely I think Zinc is
Not
probably
bad
the most
leader skill,
consistent.
too.
Yeah. Zinc is the most consistent in my opinion out of all of
I
them.
like Zinc, and
Right.
AoE armor break's not bad for the trash mobs.
Right, because it's 3 hits for 70%. That's why it's more consistent. But I do like Gina for the more chances, right? Because she cycles the S3 or the S2
okay.
a little bit more often. So there's
Okay.
pros and cons, right? There's pros and
She also
cons.
has- she also
Because
has
like if she
perfect
misses,
AI.
like oh.
Her AI is very good as well. She'll always use it. If she doesn't use it, that means you already got block beneficial up. That's the only time she doesn't use
Wait.
it.
I don't mean to change the discussion, but somebody in chat just said I tested with Water Cannon Girl 8 times 100 damage on Feng Yan to 170 damage with 1 level 1 artifact. Looks like ignore defense, in my opinion. That is crazy.
Oh, wait, that is actually an interesting increase then, right? Because you also did it onto your Feng Yan. Oh.
Yeah, that's
Level
the
1
additional
artifact.
damage. That's the additional damage by percentage of stat, I assume.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's so funny.
It's ignore defense,
mean, it's-
baby.
I don't think that's ignore defense still though, right?
Why?
That's 70 damage.
70
Yeah,
damage.
70 damage, but he's only doing like 100 damage in the first place.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the stat that you're
It
multiplying?
doesn't sound
by?
like it's like really ruined, right?
I think that's the point.
It's
I think
170.
he's just.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you don't have runes on, you're gonna see like the damage.
Not as a damage.
Because
If you're
aren't
the
they on,
damage
like,
dealer,
the base?
you can run an unruined damage dealer, and the only thing that's gonna change from like the damage mitigation is on the other side, right? If you're dealing 70% more damage, it's probably better to show it on a unit that has no runes.
Yeah, but is that on like, is it on base or on runes?
Hmm?
Like the damage increase, is it from like your base stats or from your like total
I'm
stats?
pretty sure it's total stats. I think that was because Chris in the first video said that it was based on base stats, and then people disproved that.
Right.
Okay.
That's why we're still learning. So again, credit to Chris. If you guys haven't seen that video, check it out, the artifact video. Keep in mind, right? I will say this. You'll probably hear Chris say it as well. It's things can be wrong, but you know, it's very nice to test things out and speculate and discuss, you know, things that we think are OP and things that we believe work in a certain way, and have people disprove them. That's the only way we're gonna figure these things out. So I'm really liking this. Again, I'll reiterate. Really liking this.
I don't like this anymore.
If you're an SWC contestant, you're not liking this because you want to have the most optimal
you
stuff.
like the update
right?
until someone finds out what's broken in it.
Yeah. You guys gotta figure this out.
No,
For
I
sure.
mean, like, even though all this is like the worst part is still like the management. Like, I don't want to farm it just because it's so annoying to like look through everything, like what you have powered up and not when you're at max inventory. It's actually
All my
impossible.
mana's gone too. I mean, I know I complain because I don't have that much, but since the update I've farmed almost 100 million mana, and I think I've spent 180. Like, and I never farm that much. I never even come close to farming that much, but I'm farming so much because artifacts are just so expensive.
But you're also a plus 15 on all your artifacts. Me and Lucky, we had this discussion on Friday. You're a plus 15 on all your artifacts. I did the math on it, and I did.
I stopped doing that already though.
I started
12.
Sorry, I started powering up all my artifacts this weekend, and I was calculating how much it is to plus 12. It's very cheap. It's very cheap. It didn't cost very much. So the gain that you get and the cost that you pay for 12 to 15 is extreme, and that's why I think me and Lucky talked about that. A lot of players, for you, it's okay, right? You're just saying you spend a lot of mana, right? But you need to because you want to maximize these things for your account. But other players that are making the mistake, it's because they're doing it too early, man. Too early. So
Yeah. I honestly don't think most players should even go to 12. I think most players should go to 9 in the early mid game. It's too expensive. Even 9 to 12 is like not worth. It's not worth it because the one extra substat line isn't worth it usually.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, TLDR, Steel Fortress sucks.
Yeah.
Confirmed. Yep.
Like,
I can agree.
Still
Yeah,
Fortress
really?
sucks.
I'm running Lauren Brig, Gina double Rauk. Lauren and Gina are triple will. Lauren's 265 speed, and then Brig is double will, and both the Rauks are double will, and it still fails almost once a day.
You've burned 50 million mana going to 1 week of artifacts only to plus 12s.
Is that your summoning ritual, Obabo?
How many artifacts did
Oh,
you
it's just
do?
that it's insanely
The
hot in my
what?
room. My phone is like
F5!
being insanely hot right now.
That sounds like he's upgrading artifacts for World Boss, because World Boss artifacts are super significant for
I'm-
the difference.
I'm very
Mm.
superstitious, so you gotta tell me about your new ritual. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you all have like a sick ritual, Thompson. I'm gonna
Yeah.
test like, this extra damage now. I can't live with this.
Yeah, we're gonna hear about Obama next week. Like, just gonna be so excited about it.
So,
Like,
when you finish the testing, let me know your sick builds. You can come by and tell me, and then I can play against
Yeah,
you.
I can tell you that like
backed by them.
Shio goes back on crit rate and goes like full tank Shio.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel because of this new update? Let's talk a little bit about the mana stuff for a second. Do you feel because of this update, people went a little bit papega on their efficiency on how they should use their mana? I think 100%.
Yes.
Like for
100%.
everybody that
Tunnel
said
vision.
I spent 50 mil, 100 mil, 500 million mana. I don't believe that half of it was efficiently used. People are like, I'm just gonna swap runes on my units for my new dungeons. I'm gonna swap runes on my new dungeons. Swap 500k, 500k, 500k. I'm gonna power up this for fun. I'm gonna go plus 15 with this random thing. I feel like none of it was efficiently used to an extent because these players had so much mana.
So there's a couple things. One, anyone who has a ton of mana just doesn't care. Like they don't give a shit.
They
If you have a
didn't care. No,
billion-
no, no.
If
They
you have,
didn't
if you have a
care.
billion mana, you still don't give a shit. If you have 500 million mana, you still don't give a shit because you've upgraded all of your like. It's basically creating your depth, right? Once you've created the basic level of depth, everything after that, you're just like, okay, now I only have to upgrade things that are like actually good, right? So like there's a lot of us who just upgraded shit because we're trying to min-max the hell out of every possible team, which is me. I wasted a shit ton of mana upgrading artifacts literally just for the plus 100 attack because it was relevant.
I think I wasted 10 or 20 mil on just moving runes to make videos on the dungeons. I'm not gonna lie, because I did it because I'm an Asia server, right? So the FR during the weekend, and I didn't do it much during the week. It costed so much. It costed so much, dude, just to do those videos because I just moving the stuff, right? I'm like, oh, that's stupid. I just move it back, dude. It was so expensive, dude. So expensive.
I want a stat that shows me how much mana I've spent moving runes on my entire account. Like, this is totally separate of all this. Actually, I'll save it till the end. We can talk about it afterwards. It's
Sure.
completely separate of the.
So
the chat
my
stuff.
next topic is only on buffs and nerfs, but I'll kind of just combine it with topic 5, right? Any buffs and nerfs you want to talk about? Open discussion. Go ahead. We got some time left, so go ahead and bring it up. Whatever topic you were going to talk about, Tyler. But
I want analytic stats in the game for like really dumb things that don't matter. Like I want to know how much energy I've wasted, like just not like how much refill energy has just gone to waste on my account that I've just, you know, like when you're like at 100 energy and you're like, I don't really want to play the game right now, or like you have 10 wings and you're like, I don't want to do my wings. I want to know how many wings have overcharged on my account that I never bothered using because it's a stupid stat that I think would be funny. And I want to know dumb things like how many unknown scrolls I've farmed in my entire account, or like how many times I've failed Giants B12, or like how many times I've failed Dragons B10. I want to know what my longest run is in Giants because I forgot to hit the play button.
that would be kind of fun, actually, but I don't think it'll be in their favor to do a lot of those, to be honest.
Just random dumb stuff would be funny.
Yeah.
How many
Or like how many times I crashed in Guild Wars, you know?
How many premium packs have you bought?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, how many
don't tell me
scrolls
that,
have I
don't tell me
summoned?
that.
I want to know that, like for your account.
Or
Yeah.
an inbuilt LD tracker, how many LD scrolls you've summoned
I
in
don't-
game.
Tyler needs that.
They have that.
I
don't
have
they?
it. I have it. I've counted every single
No,
one.
they have that, right? It's up to like 100, or isn't like LDs counted some way, or no?
You're trolling
I
me.
think
No. I thought it was counted like LD lightnings or something. I thought it was one of the challenges, achievements. I actually thought it was because there's one for
One
Nat
of the
5s,
achie-
right?
One of the achievements is obtain 3-star LD units or higher.
Yeah.
Right.
So yes, it goes up to 100. You're correct.
Yeah, so you can see your first 100, and you can kind of see on your account what LDs you summoned, right? So you can see in your first 100 scrolls, but that's it. Doesn't go up
Is
more than that.
there an achievement for your first LD Nat 5?
Yes,
No.
there is.
Huh?
It's
Sure.
an achievement. It's called Get Good. So you haven't achieved that yet, so you'll be there soon.
I knew he was gonna say that too. I was like, I was about to slam me so hard.
slam dunks him.
No, you 100% convinced Lucky because he 100% completes his achievement book. So that's
Yeah,
why
I'm
he's like, there's no way I have it. Like I don't know.
Yeah. You'll get there one day, dude. You'll get there one day, Tyler. Don't worry. It'll happen. We'll celebrate with you. Don't worry. Hey, 2020.
Are you gonna be in SWC this year, Lucky?
No.
Not this year? Okay. Was it because you
Didn't
didn't
play
sign
out.
up or
I
whatever?
didn't play RTA this
Oh.
season. Well, last season.
Because last year you were in SWC. It's pretty cool. I remember really clear because like they buffed Leona after. Like I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, that's so shady.
Well, that mattered though, because Diligent had Leona as well. So
Oh, okay.
you would have just taken that as well.
Dude,
I mean,
this whole time I've been seeing him do
man
he's,
is a
he's
mega
testing.
brain.
He's testing this whole time. You can see his face, dude. Watch the last 10 minutes,
that's
dude.
the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm not sleeping tonight just because of Tyler. Like, great.
So did you
I-
notice
Your
anything
wife
yet,
is gonna
Barbara?
hate me.
okay, so I'm gonna need to like, because I was testing on a on my Shio on like a unroomed Kumar.
You're gonna be sitting here
And
playing
I had,
games
like-
all day, 24/7, Thompson.
What did you?
I had a
what'd you
water
test?
artifact
What do you
with
do?
plus 103% of speed, and then additional damage by 0.5% of HP,
Uh-huh. And
and it went up by like 300.
what was
Yeah,
base
around
damage?
300. Base damage for like skill 1 was 3,179.
Okay.
Then it was 3,500 from just that.
Over
I think it's-
10% increase.
Was it upgraded? The artifact at all? Or was it just level one?
Yeah, but
What is
it's,
the line on the
it's,
artifact say?
flat HP. It's flat HP. I have unruined Shield versus
True.
unruined
Yeah,
Kumar.
what's the substat line that has the additional damage on it?
100%.
Additional damage by 103% of speed, and then additional damage by 0.5% of HP.
That's a pretty good artifact you got there.
Yeah,
It's
and then
okay.
11%.
Can you tell me your stats? Can you tell me how much HP and speed you have? And did you use any speed leads or no?
No, I just have attack lead from Shield, but that's
Wait,
for
does
both
speed
tests.
lead factor into the speed additional damage? Oh yeah, it does because it's a total, right? But how about increased effect? It doesn't work for increased effect.
What's your
right?
total HP right now? And what's your
Work
total?
on,
Uh,
it should
I
work on increase.
I don't know exactly
Oh.
with like the towers and stuff, but my
No,
I don't have-
I'm doing the towers for you right now. That's why I need to know your
It should
stats.
be
I have,
total speed after effects as well.
so it's
Should be.
What's your
one-
plus rune speed?
11.5k HP for Shio, and then 115 speed.
So it's just base speed?
Yeah, just base speed. I only have like artifact on him, nothing else.
No, I was asking. So, do you know the other substat increase effect by speed? That gets factored by leader skills? No, right? Only by speed buff, right?
Only
And
by
s-
speed buff and like increasing
innate
effect
effects,
of
okay.
passives.
Increase
That
speed
works.
effect is only
Okay.
by speed buff.
But thing
And
is,
pa-
I guess I don't have that
passive-
like fully confirmed that like the attack increasing effect and stuff works. But
Yeah.
I can see it.
So theoretically,
I like
it should only be 200 extra damage per hit, if it's from your speed and your HP. You said you have 11.5k HP and 115 speed, right?
Yeah.
And it's 103% of your speed.
Yeah.
So it should be like 135 or 136 plus 69.
Okay, sorry. But what was the total amount
So-
increasing?
I mean,
Actually,
didn't
that's
do,
pretty
like,
close
too
to what
much,
you said, because you said you went from 3.1 to 3.4, right?
3.5. Like, yeah, 3.2 to 3.5.
Variance,
You
damage
have to-
variance.
So the
Yeah, like, I
the
think
damage
that's the
scaling
damage
from
variance
here
damage
says you should do 210 to 215 more.
Did you
I
find
think
the towers?
It does work for like the multi hits that we already know. It's like a skill 3 gets like 200 increased per hit. What the thing is, what I need to test now is like to see only like 2k defense unit.
Test
If
it on your
it's-
Feng Yan, right?
I don't have a thing yet.
Well, what you
Oh,
need,
I
to
will
test,
test that for you. I actually have a 3k defense Feng Yan.
what you need to test first is you need to test the variance of no artifact, like what's the average
Yeah, I know.
damage, and then what's the average damage after. Because right now we could have like a lower high with a lower high, of those two hits.
Yeah, but
so
it's pretty easy. Like if you take a unruined Shio into like a high defense unit, you're gonna see like instantly on a skill 3 like what the.
Do you have
variance
runes on your Shiho and RTA right now?
oh, true.
is. I'm not sure.
Because I could do that. I have a high defense unit. We could literally test that right now.
Is it 0 speed?
It's very slow. It's not 0 speed.
Okay, let me see.
Just bring
Top-
like a
Bring a Chloe, bring a
Konami
Chloe.
or an attack bar booster
bring-
or something.
Yeah, attack by buffer, or just bring a Chloe to protect it. And you're fine. Either way, test
Tyler,
it. And
did
then
you Tyler, did you factor?
How much speed is it? Just put a rune in it, like a random speed rune.
What did I
Did
factor?
you factor towers as well?
yeah, he did.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. This is very interesting. That's a topic of today, man. The additional damage based on stats. Like this could be additional damage based on stats, and what we really wanted to test Obaba was additional damage based on effects, which you haven't tested, which is the Mehel
No.
Wang, right? Which we're talking
But
about
thing
as
is,
well.
what I want to test the most is if it's like ignore defense damage.
He got excited about that. Okay,
That's
all right.
way more. That's
I
way
made a
more
room called
broken
testing
than-
in Goodwill if you
Yeah.
wanna.
But
If anyone,
how much
I mean, all of you
speed,
can come join if you want to see too.
How much speed was it? So I can
It's
just
plus
put, like,
56.
Yeah, Tops is more excited about the other one though. All right, for the Fire Monkey King. Do you really want to try to make Fire Monkey King work then?
No,
Like, do you
but
have
I
a slot for him?
have like Artemil and other monsters too. So
Oh yeah, because
It's
Artemil.
gonna be incredible on Tyrannus as well, because Tyrannus gets 100% and
Yeah.
Balance too, right?
But then it feels weird because I've been ruining my monsters. I mean, artifacting my monsters all wrong because like I didn't respect that stat.
Wait, Tyranny's got what? How 100% what?
Yeah, plus 100% defense if you attack him 5 times in beast form.
And he also gets defense buff. Right. The thing is that we're talking about the passive, but now we're talking about units with the passive that also usually get the buff as well. So it's kind of big actually. It's kind of big. Yeah. I don't know how often Tops in drafts
Wait, there's
Tyranny's
6
though.
people in there now.
It's not in your draft pool, but
Testing. All right, I'm in.
I use Tyrannus.
oh, a lot? Really?
No, not a lot.
So
Yeah,
this is
like,
without.
What are your stats, Obaba?
What would he use
It's
Tyranny?
Speed and HP is all I need to know.
People use it against you, bro. Let's be real, bro.
No, I use Tyrannus. I do.
I just need
Dude.
to find the
I,
shield.
know, I had like a week where I just used like Artemil, Tyrannus, Josephine.
Oh, you actually played tier 2. Wow, I'm impressed. I think you like turn 1 better than anything. Let's be real. That's your superior
Dude, I can't
power.
find the shield. Where is he?
Or that's what you. I mean, that's what you want people to think. SWC contestants listening into this, right? Maybe Thompson's gonna play turn 2. It's
Nah.
versatile.
Okay, but
so stats,
it's
please.
plus 4k HP. And then plus 66 speed, so that's
I don't think right now still really matters too much, Brian. 'cause, like,
13.8k.
we don't know our brackets yet, you know.
True.
So it's like, whoa, you know, anyone could be playing anyone, right?
How much
Right.
speed?
Oh, somebody in
181.
chat. Somebody in chat brought something up that we can talk about as
What?
well.
181.
What did it say?
Attack increasing effect for Diana when she changes forms, and units that change forms and gain stats, like even Beast Riders.
Oh yeah.
Didn't think
oh
about
my
that.
God. Dude,
Right?
this is so much testing to do. I'm not sleeping tonight.
Because
Oh
these
my
are
God.
like meta units that
To test on Narsha.
yeah,
Like the speed increasing effect work
Yeah,
on her.
Narsha
'Cause
would be-
her passive is already speed increase effect, right?
Yeah.
So how do you
enhances
test
it.
that? You know?
What do you mean? You just see if you have
can
increased
You can
damage.
just see if you deal more damage.
Yeah.
You can deal more damage.
So you do like you do like 10 hits with her without those runes, and then you stick
your
the artifact,
artifact
and then
one?
you go 10 hits with it as
I
well.
don't have
Yes,
artifact on
yeah.
right now. This is without
So
artifact.
Okay, without.
I don't think it's gonna work with Diana because Diana's not a increasing effect.
Oh, it
Like the
just
other
says-
ones have like a scale, like the monkey. You know how the monkey gets stacks
Yeah.
and therefore has an increase, whereas Diana's just a
It just
change
changes your
forms, but
stats.
your attack is in proportionate to your max HP.
Dude, Fire Monkey is
Okay.
so good. You can
Alright,
you
let's
can
see.
literally have like 4 stats that
So
increase
that was like
It's
130.
125 to 150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put artifacts on.
What's the HP scaling on your artifact? 0.5%. you said?
0.5. 0.5. Okay, so
Well, I don't know if you want to do the additional damage for the Meiha Wang though. Additional damage seems to benefit mostly for the units with the multi-hitters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meiha Wang
But-
gonna be like accuracy S2 and increased damage by effect if it works.
But accuracy
attack.
is damage, you know?
Yeah.
like-
True.
And then crit damage is damage. And so
Yep.
like you can have 4 damage effects on each side. It's crazy.
Yeah, I thought you were
Okay,
talking about the
so-
additional. Yeah, because additional
Oh,
you're gonna
Babo.
be looking for.
Yeah, I'm fixing it.
Theoretically, you should hit me for an additional 280 damage per hit. Theoretically.
Okay, but thing
so
is,
let's see if that actually
it's,
applies, because that'll be
it's
nuts.
plus 5.4k now because the artifact.
Okay, plus 5.4k.
Can you bring in your Gani as well, Bobble, so you can ventilate? Can you bring your Gani in so you can ventilate and do it twice?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, just because it's variable, right? Just to make sure. I'm excited to hear, man, because if we figure
Oh
this
my
out right
God.
now,
The thing is, people can see that my Gani is faster than my plus 66 win.
oh shit! Spoiler alert for
Oh,
SWC.
SWC, man.
Damn,
You're-
dude. Now they
it's
know
over,
it's
man.
faster. Shit. You know the slowest Gani I've seen in the world? Is
Oh.
YDCB's Gani. HP Gani. I was like, what? Yeah, like I still remember like
Get outta here.
we were sitting around SWC and like making a bud and like Fate Mem, different times. We're like, oh yeah, I'll do some wings for you, YD. Yeah, they looked at the runes and like, never mind.
Never mind. Dude, I actually think like crit damage Gani might be better.
Yeah, it
with
is.
artif-
It is. It's good.
It's like the first it's multi-hit, but I don't know about how much, but it's always been
It's
decent.
two multi hits.
So I just banned Fire Monkey, right?
Yeah, 2 hits.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so if you deal like 300 plus damage a hit, this is insane.
Yeah, because this is a high defense unit, right? So this is ignoring defense, quote unquote, as we're trying to
I'm
discover.
recording
here.
this, dude, so I can show people later.
I'm just gonna try guess based on Ababe's expression,
Yeah.
facial expression.
Hit the candles or something, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, why you
he's
violent
talking.
proc?
All right, let's see. Oh no.
Well, you have to see the first damage.
Oh my god!
Okay, fuck this, man.
Oh! What?
It's ignore defense.
Wait, how much did it hit?
It went from 130 to 450, and he doesn't even have.
Oh my!
What?
That's
400 on
It
a
ignores
3.
defense.
Oh wait, on a 3k defense Fang Yan.
Yeah.
What?
Well, it's like it's more like 3.4k.
Oh
But
shit, I didn't go again. But yeah, it doesn't
Dude,
matter. Like
it
we saw
ignores defense.
It's true
I was
damage.
right.
Multi-hitters now true damage.
Okay.
That is disgusting.
You
Yeah.
heard, chat. I'm gonna tell you right here first, chat. Who's here right now? You just heard. You just
Okay, Obama,
discovered.
can you take it off again? and then show it
Additional
again? I can
damage
record it really
is
quick?
true damage.
So I
That's
take it off and-
so crazy.
But that also
take it
means,
off and we'll repeat it one more time.
Do you think stuff like Praha will be good now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Praha and Juno will be nuts.
Any unit that is a
Multi-hitters.
support type that already has a lot of utility,
Dude.
gaining this damage is incredible.
You know who's really nuts too now? Sierra's really good with that.
Yes.
You don't need to run extra bomb damage when you could just do true damage on your skill 1. Then, because right, you never miss with your skill 1. You miss the bombs all the time.
Ethna's gonna be good too because you ruined that tanky with high crit. What else is gonna be good? Like anything tanky that has
Gianna.
multi hits.
I mean, pretty much everything.
Gianna,
everything.
okay.
Ethna is like best.
Ethna's
like,
gonna be
super-
good.
I
I
thought we'd be
think
insane with it.
Shio is a little bit better, I think, because Shio has like more raw utility than Ethna.
Ethna
Because you don't
rotates faster though, doesn't
You know
she?
what's funny?
Yeah,
They,
the thing is,
Shio and
Ethna-
Ethna just got buffed too for random reasons. The hell? What?
Did you take the artifact off?
They
Yeah,
knew.
They knew. I mean,
But
Shio
thing
got
is,
the mega
Ethna-
buff those 6 hits. You know what I'm saying? Oh, go ahead, Obabo.
the thing is, Ethna defense breaks, but you won't need defense break with this. So like Shio just goes full tank with his.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Increase effect and additional damage by stats. That's the 2 hard hitters for today. I'm gonna tell you that. Well, the increased damage by effect, we still need more extensive testing, and it's a little bit more niche, but this additional damage is very versatile. That means, like, what is the dream stats then? Basically, any multi-hitter, you just want additional damage by speed, attack, defense, and HP.
Also-
you just want all
also-
4. Fuck
I
'em.
want you all to know that it doesn't matter if you glance.
Oh, because, wait.
It is.
Because it's just true damage.
Oh, yeah, because it just counts it as a hit,
He's,
right?
he's
with
water
Fire.
monkey. That's why we had the damage variance of 125 to 150 was because he was glancing, right? So like glancing reduces your damage.
I mean, Oki has
Wow.
to be like the most amount of hits on an AoE, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so is it now more bruiser Oki then? Best bruiser set goes Oki now? Utility and the damage output that he does while still being tank built?
Because Meiho Wang OP right now, man.
yeah,
Do it. I'm ready. Do
I'm
it.
gonna test the other way.
I'm ready, Obama. Do it.
You
100% of
get
the
OP, you just Meiho wrong, second
Okay.
skill, right click, they're dead.
You what? You Meiho what? Meiho wrong?
Okay,
Meiho
so that was
wrong.
like-
I swear you said Meiho wrong.
Okay, so all your glances hit for 115, and your
Yeah.
and your non-glance hit for like 220 something, which I think was a crit.
Meiho Wang.
Yeah, I think I crit
Wait,
once.
hold
Actually,
on.
'cause I'm at like 21 crits. So,
Wow.
It's possible. You have 6% chance to crit, so it does exist.
I mean, the further we can
That
test it even more, it's
It's
just
crazy.
you know what we should test even more is if slap the defense buff on. Even more defense,
You
dude.
want me to defense buff?
I mean, you could try it. I mean, that because technically you should do
Oh, yeah,
it
we
is
can if you want.
significantly reduced damage, but it's probably not going to be significantly reduced then, since it's
Well, my Fang already is so high defense that I don't think he really gets like. You're at the point where like the return from increased defense doesn't really matter. He's at like
Yeah.
3.4k defense
wait with towers or everything included.
with towers included. I'm 3.4k defense
Plus, how much defense do you have for your Feng Yan?
plus 2.4 plus 2.5 and a half.
I'm in again.
That's the lowest
plus
HP Feng Yan in the world.
2.4k.
Plus 2.4k. How much HP you got on that? What the?
Plus 16k. He has 0 speed. I don't need any speed. It's a Leo counter.
Oh, that's the stupid. Yeah. That's your stupid Feng Yan with 0 speed. Is it next
It's
to your
great.
Perna with 0 speed? Is it next?
Well,
to...
yeah.
Your
my
Trevor
Perna
with
has-
0 speed,
my
right?
Perna has 3k attack.
Yeah. I remember now. Yeah, I remember that. I was like,
It's
how is that
fun.
even
It's fun.
possible?
I can make builds with 0 speed and they're viable.
Yeah. I
We have
forgot
to
about
bait out the Leo first. That's the fun part.
You just pick Barra and people pick Leo for some reason.
No,
I don't
you
know
don't
why
need
they
to-
pick Leo so early.
You don't need to bait Leo. You just have the units there, like Feng Yan and Perna, which you already don't draft that much. And when they choose Leo, you go, hey, it's time for some fun. You know what I'm saying? Like it's based
Oh,
on them. You don't bait nothing
Real
else.
talk, though, this is why I built my Trevor. So my left side artifacts on my Trevor are minus damage from dark, minus damage from dark, increased damage based on
Wait, people are talking about
Eight-
additional damage for
80%?
Feng Yan. This works so good for Feng Yan then. You're testing
Yeah,
it
it's
on
insanely-
Feng Yan,
it's
but it's
insanely
good
good for
with
Feng Yan.
Feng Yan.
No, I already have it on my Feng Yan. It's good.
Oh.
Wait,
It does a
but
lot
I'm
more.
still thinking because so that was how much of an increase was it now?
It's about 300.
300. And thing is, that was on an unruned Shio, but like the base stats are still pretty high. So like, how much would that actually increase with runes? It would be to like, and that was only
A
one
lot.
artifact. You can probably get to like,
Okay, let's see.
Okay,
Your Shiho's
55.
realistically going to be like 260 something speed, right? 280 speed.
Yeah.
So 280 speed with your 103% damage plus including your towers, 300 extra damage from that, right? And then for your HP, your Shiho's probably going to be like 30k HP. 0.5% of 30k is going to be 1500, I think.
So if you get 1500 for 6 hits, are you literally talking about 9k increased damage?
No,
for
no, no,
S3?
no, no, no. 150.
yeah, 150.
Why don't you just slap some runes on it, Obama? Just some runes that you think would be reasonable. Just
I
test
mean,
it out
that's still a lot.
That's a
That's
lot.
still 450 extra damage every single hit on a fully
Yeah, I
ruined
think
unit.
it's,
Like
that
that's
was
a lot of
only on
damage.
and that was only one artifact. I mean, it was a pretty decent one, but
Yeah, that's 2.7k damage, isn't it?
Yeah, and the damage that
using your skill
accentuates
three?
on a unit that is actually ruined more feasibly, not that tanky, is you're probably going to be doing like a large percentage of these units' damage. Like just any unit, honestly.
So when we first brought this up like 2 weeks ago, like last time I was on podcast, we talked about this, and I said, okay, let me just pick reasonable numbers, right? So if additional damage by percentage of speed can go up to 200 per artifact, I said let's realistically talk about it at 200, right? You have 2 artifacts that give you plus 100 each, because that's like 2.5 rolls or 3 rolls if you're unlucky. That's a reasonable setting to have, right? Now you have a 300 speed Ganny, right? My initial thought was Ganny, and then my second one was Ethna. The third one was Juno. So if you have a 300 speed Ganny, your Ganny now guarantees to hit for like, what is that? 200% of like 300 speed is going to be 600, but you can increase the tower and then the speed lead. So realistically, it's like 350. So your Ganny extra hits are 700 each that ignore defense. So now your skill 1 on your Ganny does 1.4k damage each on top of what it already did. Running full, keep in mind, running full tank. You're not running any attack. You're not running any crit damage. It's free damage.
Right,
And ignore defense.
And that's the reason also we discussed earlier about Vigor, right? We're saying people should swap the crit damage off and go more tanky because of this new additional damage, giving you more value. You can make yourself tankier while still dishing out relatively close to amount of damage, you know, instead of going crit damage.
Yeah, because the big value on Vigor before was like you run speed crit damage HP, so you can skill 3 defense break and then try to one-shot something, right? Whether it's with the rest of your skill 3 or it's the skill 1 from the violent proc. But now if you run speed HP, you're like way tankier, you survive longer, and then you also just get the artifact that says additional damage based on percentage of HP.
Yeah. And you still get relatively the same feel because that one-shot thing is not a realistic thing to bank on or to, you know, ruin crit damage just for that, you know?
Yeah, so the reason we're talking about multi-hits specifically is because it applies on multi-hits. Every single hit applies this extra damage, which is why multi-hitters have become so much stronger for this in the meta now.
Wow, so anything else that multi-hits? Okay, obviously we talk about Juno. Juno's a freaking god now.
Yeah, Juno's going to be insane.
Especially in the meta.
Tanky Juno.
Especially in the meta. So, Sierra's a god now. Well, more so than she already was. What else, man? Like, what else is meta that's in here, man? Like, I'm kind of scared. Wow, we're going back to Bruiser meta then? Is that our prediction then? Things are going to be a lot more Bruisery then? Yeah.
Bruiser meta.
I think
We already knew that Bruiser meta was coming back though, because like you can get 200 defense on every unit now. So Bruiser meta, of course, comes back.
Begomon said Julie. Oh, I mean, I wonder how much this would affect PvE dungeons and stuff too, or would just the increased damage for on opposite element be a big thing, right? So I'm assuming like Julie or would be for mostly arena then, if anything, cleaving, right?
No, Julie could be for RTA as well. I think you can do like a team in RTA that's just like the most amount of multi-hits you can get on AoE attacks.
Yeah.
Kind of like a slow cleave, but you don't need to strip up anything because it's just raw damage.
Right. Damn.
Something.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Very big discoveries here. Anything else you guys want to contribute?
But the thing is, this damage shouldn't like scale off of crit damage and stuff then as well. It's not gonna matter if you crit or not with this damage.
No, that's why I
No.
keep telling people like people are like, this is gonna be so insane for cleave. It's not. This is insane for support units. Support units now just do a shit ton of damage. Cleave units are going to run increased attack effect because it's better, and they're going to run increased crit damage on their skill 3s because it's better. It's more consistent, right? Those are more relevant to them because most of those units hit really hard anyways. They don't need these small damage increases.
As long as people don't view it as you went from doing 100 to 300, that it's going to be 1,000 to 3,000. That might be a misconception. People are thinking this is fixed damage because it's relating to a certain stat. Remember that aspect. Because I think a lot of people might be thinking, oh, my 1,000 damage support unit's now going to do 3,000 because Ababo's she who did 100 to 300. No, it's not going to work like
Fixed
that.
damage.
Don't think of it
Fixed
that
damage
way.
increase.
It's fixed damage increase based on these stats.
You know what's going to come back that's going to be really fun, though?
What's that?
Violent Revenge Lauren. It's going to hit a lot harder, right? Because now just people just run faster. Like,
Ooh,
you
Iris.
set it to be according to your speed, HP, defense.
The flat stat for Lauren's really good. Also,
Yeah.
accuracy on skill 3.
Yup.
Right?
Yup. You can make her a lot tankier. That's why, because the hardest part was making her tanky with the high ac, right?
With accuracy, yes.
Yeah. So that's gonna be big.
That's the whole thing with like this patch is they've made all the units that are like that unit's not that good because its base stat sucks and it's not good enough. All those units have become way better.
Yeah.
Right?
Thompson, what
Units
about your
that were already
nephews?
strong, like got an amplification, but they didn't get like they went from like good to better, whereas these other units went from like they're just not quite there to these units are pretty good again.
Right. What about your nephews, Thompson? What kind of artifacts are you running on that now? What about if you do some additional damage, baby?
No, just tanky for now.
Just tanky.
My Guild War one is on damage, and it feels pretty nice. So I don't know.
Additional damage? Just a little bit. Of
My
additional
Guild War one, yeah, it's on crit
Oh.
damage. But
Oh no,
my
not crit damage. But I'm saying if you were to slap this additional damage on, right? Because we're
Yeah,
talking any support
it
that
is,
does multi
but
hits.
you don't
right?
see that
Oh,
crit damage.
wait a second.
Same with like segment and stuff. It's just like one attack, skill 2, and takes forever.
Oh, something went
Okay.
wrong.
So you do like Fire Fairy, Okeanos, Julie. What else would be good?
Yeah, Fire Fairy. Yeah,
Fire
true.
Fairy's awesome.
Fire Fairy
sick.
turn 1, taking turn 1. Yeah.
Thing is, because
Okay,
Fire Fairy.
you guys are stretching it a bit far, man.
Thompson
No, I
like Fire
don't
Fairy.
think so, because you can build them like full tank. Like how if someone is going like trying to bruise that, they're gonna lose.
Oh, true. Because now with the
I'm
fixed
gonna be really
damage
honest
increase.
with you, Obabo. The answer is literally just pick Sierra and Praha together now. Just try it. Trust me. Just try using Praha and tell me what you think. Because
I mean,
also another thing to note, Lima became stronger because of this, like quite a bit stronger.
But thing is,
Mm.
I also think you need to, because AOE's also get like the fixed damage increase on every single hit. So, like if you're looking at Fire Fairy, if she gets 6 on everyone, it's like Junos is 3 on 1, but then the Fire Fairy is like 24 instances of that fixed damage.
Wait, Fire
One.
Fairy just
Okay, but you also have
one
to keep in mind
unit?
Juno rotates
Yeah,
way
4
faster,
to
right?
6 hits for Fire Fairy.
Fire,
That's
4
true.
to 6
Juno,
hits
Juno
per unit?
rotates. Yeah,
And I
it's
think
4 to 6.
Okeanos is something similar as well.
That's why Fire Fairy sucks against anyone with 2 buffs, because like you might get it if you're lucky, and if it's 3 buffs, it's like impossible.
I wonder how much damage you would actually do.
You
with
never
a-
used Aurora in your life.
Like,
4 to 6
if
as
you
well,
had if you had a max additional damage for Fire Fairy and max additional damage for Oki and had a tank Fire Fairy and crit damage Oki, how much health would a bruiser team go down with just those 2 hits? Because you strip and control and do damage. Like, what kind of situation would you be put in after that already?
You would do whatever damage you already took, and then you would also take probably like an additional 6k damage total.
That's a lot, dude. And you've CC'd controlled them as well, right? So
what's the minimum for Julie for skill 3? 3?
3? I think it's 3. Let me check. 3 or 4. Let me see.
I
And
have
she,
her
and
right
she
in
can
front
still
of me.
land 6, right? Even if she's low on HP. I never used Julie, so.
Chat will probably know instantly. Why can't I see Julie? Am I blind? I think I am blind.
It should be 4 to
there it is.
6, I think.
It
4
says
to 6.
attack 6 times when attack is used with full health. So probably less. 4? Yeah, 4. 4 with not full health. 6 with full health.
Yeah, it's 4 to 6.
Yep. Oh, Antares. Oh, Antares. Oh yeah.
Dude, Antares uses attack and crit buff so well. Increased attack
Antares
effect, increased
uses
crit effect is so good
Dude,
on him.
he gets
Like
a benefit
Antares
from
is-
both things we're talking about, right?
Yeah, and Taurus gets from like everything that you like, pretty much every single stat except for like recovery skill 1, because you can even use like revenge on him, like extra damage from counterattack, because that's he uses almost everything.
So they buffed Antares right before SWC.
Yeah, and Taurus is
Plot
pretty good.
twist.
Well, they also made it easier to kill him, so I think it's okay. I think it kind of balances out for him now. But they made people who have like the 55. He got a good end. I will agree, he got a good end. But the people who run like 55 crit rate on their Antares got a huge benefit because they can run crit increasing effect on one of the runes, and then like they don't need they have consistency again.
I mean, what about like? So we did kind of outshadow the players that are going to be running like AOE cleaves, right? But does it actually help them a little bit as well? Because I think it gives them that a little oomph of damage as well for AOE cleaves. Like if you're Asamaing or you're Beth, or whatever it is, and you're just doing some kind of cleave, or even if you're doing Julie cleaves, it does give you a little bit more, doesn't it? Right?
It depends what you're cleaving with.
I think it doesn't benefit cleave as much as it does support.
I mean,
It
proportionately,
does
yeah.
benefit cleaves, but every time you're like, if you're actually committed to cleaving, you're going to focus more on things like attack increasing effect, less so on additional damage based on blank stat.
Okay.
Because so cleave units are actually like kind of, and it sounds weird to say this, but they're more in a balance build because you need the right speed. You also need high crit and crit damage and attack, right? Whereas like supports that multi-hit, you could literally just run them on full tank sets with speed. You don't need crit, and then you probably just need accuracy. It's easier to build units that aren't on crit damage, right? Which means you can focus more on one stat, which means you will benefit more from the additional based on blank stat.
Yo, how gross is Diana again then?
Diana with skill 2 crit damage and additional damage based on HP is really strong.
It doesn't even need defense break anymore, man. Like that thing is just gonna shred.
I don't think Diana needs additional damage based on HP though.
What's gonna be the good substat for her?
Damage based on attack.
Attack. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
all of them are gonna be good, but attack will have the highest multiplier, is what you're saying. Yeah.
So I guess I should clarify when I say that. I think you want the rolls and crit damage, right? And then you want one basic line of additional damage based on HP or attack, because the crit damage does scale best, right?
It does.
Yeah, it's additive. That's why it's one of the few things. Accuracy and crit damage are additive compared to.
I
everything else.
also think that Diana really well uses one line of accuracy on skill 1, because you can run 0% accuracy and then stun things that have high resist.
Yeah, true.
Has anyone tested the interaction between true damage and the damage reduction effects? So like damage reduced by like element X%. Because I wonder
like
if true damage gets reduced by that.
Like a skull goal, and then damage reduced by win. Like
Yeah,
that?
so let's say for the stuff that we just figured out, like the additional damage based on your X% speed and all that jazz, does that also get reduced then if you're using a damage reduction effect as well?
I'd probably say it does, because earlier we were talking about how the way the math calculates, right? It will probably calculate your additional damage, and then the math or the system will calculate the reduction after. So so I think it would probably get reduced, right? Because it just reduces all damage flat for that element, if that's the element unit that's hitting you. That's what we assume, but maybe there's a glitch and maybe we don't know, right? That needs to be tested, if anything.
Sure.
Right. Okay. Solid podcast today. Thank you guys for joining me for the podcast today. I think people on YouTube, as you can see, every week we start to think that we know stuff, and we're just testing and figuring out more and more stuff every day. But if you guys are watching this on YouTube, hopefully you guys enjoy this. We will continue to test more of these. Leave your comments down below. We've been actively going through them. I know Comtuous reads them as well. So leave your comments down below. Let us know other things you want to test, weird interactions you may have discovered or want to test it, and we'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. We'll bring it up as topics for the next podcast, because this seems to be the most interesting of topics going on, right? To move forward, to see what units are going to be best, where to use them. So make sure you guys leave those comments. Make sure you hit that like, and I'm gonna put their links to all their Twitch channels down below. Everybody here streams quite a bit. Thompson will be streaming less and less as SWC is coming around, but still streams nonetheless. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream or podcast. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
See you later.
See you guys.